morning and welcome to Monday, January 27th, 1941. I'm Henry Chop, your host. And before I tell you what we have going on tonight, I just wanted to give you a really quick reminder that if you expand the description section, you will see a link there, and that link leads you to our other channel, the World War II newspaper channel. On that channel, we are going through World War II much more in depth than I think any other channel on YouTube. We read the newspaper from going day by day through World War II, or, well, in this case, the march up to the U.S.'s entry into World War II. And we read the articles, many of them we read complete, especially the ones that have to do with the war itself. We read the articles complete as they are written, so it gives you a really cool sense of being there. And we also read various other news stories of the day, so you can follow what it was like living in 1941. Well, just like your grandparents, maybe your parents, or maybe even you lived it. Or if you're really young, your great-grandparents. So that is kind of a cool thing. And also we are on Facebook, the World War II News and Old Time Radio channels on YouTube. Go like us over there, and I share various articles for your viewing pleasure, I guess, for your education and viewing pleasure. I mostly share stuff from pages that I like and various stuff like that. I just put it all in one place for you to take a look at. A lot of them feature articles that are pretty long too, that go along with a picture or two. To tell you what it was like historically, what World War II was like, not so much in the sense of actually being there, but what we know now on many of these stories. So go check that page out. It's pretty cool. So subscribe to the World War II newspaper channel and click on that bell icon telling you when a new video is going to premiere. I usually over there I try to post 3 times a week because, well, it takes a lot longer for me to put and record those videos by far. You will also see pictures from news stories and also pictures of ads on that channel as well. Okay, let me tell you what we have coming up tonight. Well, we're going to start things off with that soap opera, The Goldbergs, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon over CBS. So you just got home from school. Your mom is, I guess she might be getting you a snack or whatever, and you're sitting at the kitchen table. She's getting ready to prepare dinner. Maybe you have your homework at the dinner table, and she's helping you a little bit with the homework. Or at the kitchen table, you might eat your dinner in the dining room, but she's got the Goldbergs on to keep her company while she's preparing dinner. That when your dad comes home at about 6 o'clock maybe, if your dad worked 9 to 5, if he was a white-collar worker. And then you're done with your snack, you're done with your homework. Remember, this is January, so you don't do a lot of playing outside. It's 4:30 in the evening. You move over to the radio. Maybe you have a friend come over. You got some comic books out. You're laying on the floor and looking at comic books and listening to The Lone Ranger at 4:30 over Mutual. Then you have The Adventures of Superman, Jack Armstrong, the All-American Boy. Then your friend goes home, of course, and you guys have dinner with the family. Dinner's done. You have your Monday night staple of radio listening, and that is the Lux Radio Theater. And tonight we have a Shirley Temple movie, Captain January, a movie for radio. So some great stuff. And then we have the Burns and Allen program. And this aired, Lux, by the way, aired at 8 o'clock over CBS. Burns and Allen aired in Chicago. But all the times I'm giving you are according to the Chicago Tribune radio listings. The Burns and Allen program aired at 9:30 in the evening. Chicago carried the West Coast version of the Burns and Allen program. And this one's pretty funny. It's George Burns and the $5,000 mink coat. Now, $5,000 in 1941 would be what, about maybe 50, 60, 70, maybe even $100,000 nowadays. Nah, I think a good Cadillac would be going for $3,000-$4,000 back in 1941. So this mink coat is probably about the price of a a luxury car. So you have that in mind. And then we're going to close it out with a sports program. George Walsh and Jim Jones. This is a local WHAS out of Louisville, Kentucky program. They speak about college basketball. So kind of interesting programs here. So that's what we have going on. The tubes are warming up on this old tube radio. That's our time machine. Let's give this stuff a listen.
Our friends and neighbors, the Goldbergs, brought to you by the makers of new high-test Oxidol. Say, when you go down to the basement to take your clothes from the line, these wash days it's too dark and gray to hang them outdoors, how do they look? So dull and dingy you're fit to be tied, huh? Well, you just run over and tell your troubles to your grocer. He'll fix things up for you. Sure, because he's got a winter whiteness campaign to settle your wash day problems. A way to get your clothes snowy white. So go on over to the store today, won't you? And look for the display. Banners and posters featuring winter whiteness with Oxidol. Yes, Oxidol with white washing power built right into it to get your clothes immaculate with economy. Whether you hang your clothes inside or out, if you wash them with Oxidol, you'll be proud of them. Well, you can't beat this Oxidol whiteness with any soap we know. In fact, lots of laundry soaps don't wash anywhere near as white as Oxidol. By our actual laboratory test, Oxidol washes as much as 9 to 11 tintometer shades whiter than 15 other popular soaps. And with all this whiteness, mind you, your washable colors are safe in Oxidol. Yes, and when you use Oxidol, you'll notice, as other Oxidol users do, there's no cloud of soap dust with Oxidol to irritate your nose and make you sneeze. No clouds of soap dust to make you gag and choke. Not with Oxidol. Every package of Oxidol, every pound and package, is especially processed to prevent irritating soap dust. So look, don't think you need the sun or bleaches or boiling to get your clothes white. Oxidol can do it for you, even on dark winter days. So go on over to the store and get some today, won't you? Oxidol's now selling at the lowest prices in years. And now, the Goldbergs. When the first shock of Sammy Goldberg's departure for South Carolina was absorbed, Molly settled down to some real hard thinking. She knows the boy is in love with Sylvia Allison. She knows that Sylvia's father wants to give Sammy a place in his business. But Molly also knows that she doesn't like or trust Sylvia. So first, Molly had Jake wire $200 to Sammy so that he wouldn't be dependent on the Allisons. And next, she called Mr. Allison. Mr. Allison turned out to be a direct, realistic gentleman who told Molly, quite frankly, that he would treat Sammy like his own son, but that he would also make a man of the boy. Well, this disturbed Molly, and she's been worrying and thinking of it ever since. Well, now it's night, and the house without Sammy seems empty, terribly lonely, and not at all like home. Listen.
Uncle David, I'm so glad you came.
Papa called me, so I'm here. I took the first train.
Take some tea, Rosalie, darling. I will. Did you take up some headache pills for Papa? Yes, I did, Ma. All right, darling. David.
Molly, change your face. Change your face immediately. You hear me? Immediately.
David
told me. Jake told me you had to call South Carolina. Why did you call?
I wanted to speak to Mr. Allison.
All right. Don't fall to pieces. So you spoke, no?
Yes, I spoke. I told Mama not to call.
So what is it what's so terrible that Sylvia's father said?
I told Mama not to call. Rosalie, please.
So we wouldn't discuss it. But he said he'll make a man of Sammy. Maybe he will.
What kind of a man, David?
The only kind Sammy can be, Molly. Whatever he has in him will come out.
But, David...
All right, Molly, all right. I want you to pull yourself together, Molly. You hear me? Jake is upstairs with a headache. That's why I'm here. Together, pull yourself.
And I'll get the telephone. The telegram that Sammy arrived. So I'll feel better, David.
After all, Molly, how many boys would consider themselves lucky to get into a ready-made business? What's the tragedy? That's what I want to know. What's the tragedy?
All right, David, darling. All right, David, dear. I'll be all right.
Look at yourself. Look what you look like.
I feel all right, David. I feel all right. I'll just get the telegram and the telegram.
He loves him. He loves her. What's the tragedy?
It's not a tragedy. It's not a tragedy. Is it wrong, David, if I'm anxious for a telephone or if I'm anxious for a telegram?
It's not wrong, Molly. It's not wrong. But you, a woman, that everybody came for advice. You, Molly, why should you go to pieces? They have to grow up sometimes. Then don't you think I would like Sally now to be in knee pension and running to school in the mornings and coming home in the afternoon? All things change, Molly, and all people change. I was a man alone, and I was a mother and a father to my children. But the time came when they had to be what they wanted, not what I wanted them to be. Likewise with Sammy. Some things can't be helped. And sometimes, when we think we are wrong, it can be that somebody else is wrong. Or it can't be helped, Mal.
I know, David, I know.
Fix Mama a glass of tea.
I can't fix the tea. I'll do it, Ma. All right.
You'll see, Molly, how much pleasure we'll have yet from Sammy.
I hope so, David.
Sammy's a good boy.
Always, David. Always a good boy. Sammy was always a good boy. I had only pleasure from Sammy. Every day of his life, David. Always good. How long ago was it, David? He was a baby. How long? Will I ever forget, David, the first time I was riding with him in the subway? He was reading the words on the advertisement. And he said to me, I remember, David, darling, like it was yesterday. Look, Mama, darling, how the little black line makes words. Words that I read in my book in kindergarten. Maybe he was in 1A too, I don't remember. Maybe in kindergarten. Oh, Ma. Huh? Tea? Yes. Some tea, Uncle David?
Please. So drink, Molly. Stop thinking.
Yes. How can you help it? Where was your living, David, when family was on mitzvah?
Drink your tea, Molly.
Oh, David, and what about mitzvah? The whole temple was full with friends and with neighbors and family stood up and he made his speech.
Drink your tea, Molly.
I was wearing a black satin dress, I remember, like yesterday. Oh, Drake made it special for me. And he made a periwinkle dress for Mrs. Blue. And he forgot he made the same style for Mrs. Malenka and Rose and the butcher's wife also. So nearly all the congregation, all the ladies, all the friends came in the same style. I even remember the style number for 642. Oh, but who cared about the dresses we cared? They came to hear family. They came to hear family for me.
Loving parents, dear sisters, devoted friends and congregation. On this day of my bar mitzvah, I offer my sincerest thanks to the Almighty for having permitted me to reach this joyful period. This day marks unto me the beginning of a beautiful life. I have reached the period when I am in duty bound to perform all obligations that rest upon every member of the human race. I know that many dangers and temptations will beset my path. I am at present like a young plant that is exposed to the storms and the inclemency of the weather. I will need divine blessings and guidance to keep me in the right path of duty and rectitude. May Providence keep away from our little family all sorrows and worries. May the chain of love and affection that holds us together forever remain unsevered. And may happiness, joy, and peace be our share in life. God grant my earthly
Yes. Should that come between us? Cameron?
Molly, please.
I'm drinking. I'm drinking. I'm not saying. I'm drinking.
You're thinking. Stop thinking, Molly.
Can't empty the inside of my head, David.
You must. You have to. Live in the present, Molly.
Too much, David. The present. Too much. too much. It's too big for me, David. The present for me now is a strange world. Not like the world I was used to living in, David. I feel like I'm in a jungle. I don't know where now. I don't know where to go there.
Oh, Molly. The present will be the past tomorrow. And next month it wouldn't be any different from 10 years ago. You'll be used to it. And you'll see it in a different light. And the past we know like a friend. The present we fight like a husband and wife. And the future we fear like an enemy. But husbands and wives become friends also, and enemies become friends, and it ends all's well that ends well.
Thank you, Timor. And stop thinking, please. I'll stop thinking. Samuel only didn't. He only didn't left today. He left. He was mad at me. He was mad at me that he left.
Jealous, Ma, that's what you are. Jealous. You don't want me to love anyone but you. You don't want anyone to love me. You want to keep me here with you all my life and all your life. But it's wrong, and it's not right, and I won't let you do it. I'm leaving you here. I'm getting out. And I'll never forget that it was you who made Sylvia leave. Only you and no one else. You hear? It'll never be the same anymore, Ma. This house won't be the same for me. You made her leave. You made believe that you wanted me to be a writer. You told me all about the wonderful things I could and all the wonderful things I should do. And all you meant was that I should forget Sylvia and forget that I loved her. You spoke of everything except what was really on your mind. And you tried, and you worked, and you succeeded. You made her leave.
Rose, the telephone.
The telephone. Hello? You? Yes. So? Yes. What is it? Thank you. Huh? So the telegram. He sent it? Yes, he arrived safely and a letter will follow.
So Sammy is there in South Carolina with Sylvia. And the thought of that immense separation cuts through all of Molly's reverie. That she and her son are divided, perhaps forever. Remember, whether you hang your clothes indoors or out, whether the day's gray or sunny, Oxidol will get your clothes dazzling white. So go over to the store and find out about it, won't you? Your dealer's featuring winter whiteness with Oxidol, putting up banners and posters and show cards to feature Oxidol for snowy whitewashes with real economy. Because Oxidol's whitewashing power is built right in, made to get clothes white without sun, without boiling, without bleaching, and made to get them white without harming colors, and without clouds of soap dust to make you sneeze and choke. Every woman who uses Oxidol knows that. Now be sure to listen to the next episode, won't you? Sammy meets his future father-in-law. And now, this is Don Hancock saying goodbye for the makers of high-test Oxidol.
With the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty "Hi-Yo Silver," the Lone Ranger. faithful Indian companion Tonto, the masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early western United States. It was his strength and courage, his daring and resourcefulness, that broke the power of the outlaw bands and made the frontiers safe for honest men and women. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Hello, Silver! We're heading for the Carter Ranch. There's going to be trouble. Hello, Silver! Away!
Lone Ranger and Tonto were riding across country when a volley of shots rang out through the stillness of the afternoon. They raced to the crest of a hill and reined up. Directly below them, two men had taken cover on either side of the trail and...
A gunfight, Tonto. And what we do?
We'll try and put a stop to it before one of them is killed.
We ride down there?
No, Tonto. We'll leave the horses here. There's plenty of cover. You circle around and back of the one to the right, and I'll get the one to the left.
And take guns.
That's the idea. We'll disarm them, and then we'll find out what the duel is all about. Stay here, Silver. Hurry, Tonto. Tonto, do it.
Now I'll reload and...
Not so fast. Steady. I'll take that gun.
The masked man.
Tonto.
Tonto.
Good. Bring him over here.
Hey, what for you do this? Pedro has no money.
I'm not looking for money. Why were you shooting at that man?
Well, why not?
Why not?
Well, we sure turned out to be a couple of smart hombres, Pedro. I suppose he caught you with your gun empty, just like the Indian caught me.
See, it is most embarrassing.
It's worse than that. What are you going to do with us, mister?
Are you two friends?
See, that is why we shoot at each other.
Do you mind explaining that?
We were just having a little fun.
Hey, let me see your sombrero, Pete.
You put 2 holes in it.
Only 2.
Look for yourself. Now, let me see yours.
Only 2.
Yeah, there's 2 through the top. But how about that one that grazed the brim?
Oh, no, that one does not count.
Sure does. You owe me 2 bits.
All right, I pay you right now.
Huh?
There.
Thanks.
Pedro's smart. The masked money will take it away from you.
What's your name?
I am Pedro Martinez de Salvado Eruniega.
And you?
Just plain Pete Lacey.
Pete and Pedro.
You have heard of us, no?
I've heard of you. We wasted our time, Tonto. Here, Silver.
Yes, Scout. Hey, Silver. You cost me your horse Silver.
Call that Indian Tonto. Pedro, he's...
You do not have to tell me, my friend. Hey, this is great pleasure, senor. You have heard of us, we have heard of much of you.
We're sure sorry to have caused you any bother.
Well, that seems to be a specialty with you,
Oh,
two.
senor.
Pedro Martinez, the best man with a lariat in the state of Texas.
You honor me too much.
And Pete Lacey, the best bronco buster.
Oh, now, I don't claim to be...
But the 2 worst hands at holding a job from the Mississippi to the Pacific.
That is not true, senor. Not anymore.
Oh, no, sirree. We both turned over new leaf.
When?
Well, this morning. But we ain't...
I see. Steady, Silver.
Hey, but wait. You know where we could get a job.
You won't have to go far.
We thought they might need some hands in California.
You won't find any place that needs more hands than the Carter Ranch.
We passed one spread in the valley. Didn't look like much of an outfit.
Well, that was Grant's. The Carter Ranch is about 2 miles farther west. They pay top wages. But they've been losing their men for the past 6 months.
Must be a reason for that.
Yes. I believe that someone is trying to put Ellen Carter out of business.
Did you say Ellen?
She's been trying to run the ranch ever since her father's death.
She's young?
About 21 or 22. She's inexperienced, of course. But she has a good top hand.
My mind is made up.
You gonna work for a woman, Pedro?
Always Pedro help a lady when she needs help, see? I go to work.
Well, I guess I'll tag along then.
Good. Tonto and I'll make camp over the hill.
That one?
Yes. And if you can find out what's behind all the trouble in the Carter spread, let me know.
Si, senor. You may depend on us.
Yeah, that is if we get hired.
All you have to do is ask for a job. All right, Tonto. Come on, Silver.
Get him up, Scout.
Adios, masked man.
We get back to horses pronto.
Kimasabi,
What is it?
you think fellers find out what's wrong?
No, Tonto. That's our job. But with their help, Ellen can keep the ranch going. She won't have to sell out to Grant. And we know that he's tried to buy it once before at about half of what it's worth. And it wasn't until after Ellen refused his offer that her hands started to leave.
Grant scare 'em, maybe.
It's possible. Grant and his men, they're a hard-looking crew.
Them plenty bad.
But so far, they haven't broken the law. Perhaps Grant doesn't intend to.
Him want ranch.
Yes, Tonto. Before we leave here, we've got to find just how he means to get it.
And me go to Grant's friend.
That's a good idea.
Get job, too.
If you can, you may need a cook. Over the hills,
Get
Silver.
a scout.
We'll make camp down below. As soon as you get any information, come back here. I only hope that Pete and Pedro don't disappoint us.
You going through with it, Pedro?
Si.
They say California's mighty nice.
Pedro Martinez de Salvador y Runiega has given his promise.
I tell you what. Now, there's some females that are awful strong-minded and bossy. If this one looks like that, what do you say we just sort of ask for a handout and mosey along? It's only common sense, Pedro.
See. We take one look on the face, and then we...
Hello?
Senorita... Oh, we would like to work for you.
What?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Pete Lacey, and this is Pedro Martinez. We're both top hands, and money's no object.
Bill, come here. Won't you step inside? I'd like you to meet my foreman.
Si, senorita.
What is it, Ellen?
These boys want to go to work. The masked man did it. He found us a couple of hands.
Well, that's fine. You both look as if you know your job.
Si, senor.
Sure do, mister.
Bill Morgan, Pete, and Pedro.
Howdy, Pete. Before I take you on, boys, I want you to get things straight.
Straight?
We're short-handed. You'll practically have to live in the saddle.
We're used to that.
Oh, si.
Well, that's one thing. The second is this. We don't want any drifters. If you only plan to stay 2 or 3 weeks, you can move on right now.
Hey, we are not drifters.
I don't like that kind of talk, Bill.
How long did you stay in your last job?
Well, it's kind of a personal question.
Si. You want us or not?
Of course we do. We need them, Bill. They're good men.
You can ask the masked man. He will tell you.
I wasn't here when you talked to that masked man, Ellen, and I'm not sure you haven't talked too much. He may be an outlaw.
What's that?
The Lone Ranger?
Well, what proof do I have that he was a Lone Ranger?
But I told you.
I still say he may be an outlaw, and these two may be working for him. The way things are right now, I can't afford to have anyone on this ranch that I don't trust.
I trust them.
Gracias, senorita.
But I'm the foreman.
Bill, I insist that you hire these men.
You insist?
Yes.
You better think twice, Ellen. You may be sorry for it.
I'll take a chance on that.
Very well. You're hired. Dump your blanket rolls in the bunkhouse, and I'll meet you there in 5 minutes.
Si. It would be a great pleasure to work for you, senorita.
Yeah.
That fellow, I do not like him.
Got a bad look in his eye.
How long to stay in last job? It is insult. Come on, boy.
And you said we were crooks. If it wasn't for Miss Ellen, I wouldn't stay here long enough to take a deep breath.
La señorita esta muy hermosa, muy simpática.
Hey, in English.
She is beautiful, and she is kind. But that fellow Bill, he does not trust us. I do not trust him.
Maybe he's a crook.
And that is what Pedro thinks. It is Bill who make all the trouble for the señorita. We will watch him close, and then when we get the goods all over him, we will ride for the Lone Range.
I haven't seen you for nearly a week.
Play hard, get way.
Has anything happened?
Grant send Red to Carter Ranch.
What for?
Tell him, make new men go away.
I see. The same thing he's tried before.
You right there now?
No, Tonto. Pete and Pedro can take care of themselves. It'll take more than Red to scare them. Here, Silver.
Where you go?
Grant won't give up after one attempt. We've got to find out what he plans to do next.
You come back with me?
Yes.
Better you not wear a mask.
You're right. Help me with the disguise.
Me help.
But we can't take much time. Red will fail. When he reports to Grant, I want to hear what he says.
Tonto, hurry.
It's about time.
Oh, so I did just like you told me to.
Where'd you get that black eye?
The big one gave it to me.
Where's your gun?
Mexican took it away.
Did you walk home?
Huh?
You don't mean to say that he left you your horse?
Now, wait a minute.
I've waited long enough.
I thought you said you could handle the two of them by yourself.
Boss, they're tough hombres.
One look at you, and I can answer for that myself. That's all the more reason for getting rid of them.
You told me not to shoot.
Did they find out who sent you?
Yeah, they had that all figured out.
Sure. I suppose you admitted it.
Yeah.
What?
But wait, boss, they had it figured out wrong. They got Bill Morgan pegged for a crook. They think he's the one who's trying to get the ranch, and I told them they was right. Wouldn't surprise me if they went gunning for him tonight.
You got a lot of bright ideas.
But don't you see that...
Ellen Carter won't let her foreman get shot. Well, we got to think of something else. We're working too slow, Red.
Well, if I took a half a dozen of the boys, we could handle those two.
She might be able to hire somebody to take their place. We've got to get rid of her.
The girl?
The girl and her foreman and anybody else that can testify against us. How many will be there in the bunkhouse tonight?
Well, just Pete and Pedro and Bill. The other two hands will be riding herd.
Round up the boys. We'll get started right away.
What have you got in mind?
Fire.
Huh? What do you mean?
Just what I said. Fire. The Carter Ranch is going to burn down tonight, and Ella Carter's going to be inside.
But I tell
So
you...
is Bill Morgan and the two new hands. By tomorrow morning, the ranch won't have an owner, and I can step in and buy it for whatever I want to pay. And that won't be much.
Did you hear that, Tonto? I'm heading to the Carter Ranch to warn them. You get the sheriff.
Don't turn around. I got a gun in each of your backs. Make a move and I shoot.
May we stand up?
Yeah, but take it easy. Now get inside. Slow and easy. Open the door, Injun.
What the...
Boss, I found these two listening outside the window. They said they were going for the sheriff.
The sheriff, huh?
Yeah. What'll I do with them?
Sheriff. Fred, we're going to test our plan before we use it. Now tie him up. Throw him in that old shack on the other side of the corral.
Then what?
That shack ought to have been burned down years ago.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. To continue our story, the Lone Ranger and Tonto were captured, bound, and thrown in an old shack. As they struggled to free themselves, they could hear the shouts of Grant and his men as they prepared to raid the Carter Ranch. How are you coming, Tonto?
Tonto, get loose. Ready. Soon now.
Keep at it. We have much time. They'll set fire to the shack before they leave.
They've locked the door. Unless we're free of these ropes, we won't have a chance. All right, now. Hurry up with that oil. The wood's dry. We won't need much. Soak it good. Get the other side. Move. Give me a hand, Red. Right. Let's have one of those torches. Lefty. Now, get into your saddles, all of you. Ain't you going to light it? Right now. There she goes. Look at her take hold. Now, follow me. Ain't you going to stay and watch it? You'll see a real fire before the night's over. Now, come on. Get on there. There they go. I'm getting this rope loose. Too late now. Keep working. Too late.
Tonto, that sounds like Silver.
Huh?
He didn't stay in the woods. He's come to find us. Silver, break down the door. Silver.
Maybe be him afraid to fire. Silver! Good boy, hurry! Back, Silver. Don't close the door, Tonto. Outside. Out of the way, Silver. Silver, help you. Tonto. Good boy. Oh, bad. I'm all right, Silver. Get Tonto.
At that moment, Pete and Pedro, alone in the bunkhouse at the Carter Ranch, are laying their plans for the evening.
Think we ought to do it, Pedro?
Si, senor. We have caught him in the action.
All we got's that fellow's word.
It is enough for Pedro.
But doggone it, there's something about the man you can't help liking. He made us work awful hard, but he's worked just as hard as we have. He's always got a smile and a pleasant word.
It is like the wolf who wear the sheep clothes. To the face, he make friends with us. Then he knife us in the back.
I never saw him carry a knife.
No, he's afraid for do it himself. He hires somebody to knife us in the back with a gun.
That hombre admitted it, didn't he?
See, you listen to Pedro. Pedro has great plan for this ranch. It will be the best in the whole country. But first, the Senor Morgan must go.
Hey.
What is it?
Look, that's Miss Carter by the corral.
Oh, she saddled horse.
It isn't safe for her to be riding alone at night. This range is cluttered up with gunmen. Don't you think we ought to stop her?
We'll find out where she go first, eh? Come on.
I figure Miss Ellen is just about the prettiest girl I ever saw.
See, but just the same, maybe we let her take this ride.
Alone?
It is better she is out of the way. We have work to do.
Is it safe?
We know where the Lone Ranger make his camp.
By the hill.
See, if she say I ride to the south, that is all right. We have nothing to worry about. You leave it to Pedro.
Steady, boy.
Buenas noches, señorita. It is hard for to stay inside when the moon shines so bright, no?
You guessed it, Pedro.
Here, I fixed that saddle for you.
Thank you.
It's sort of late to be starting out alone.
No, it isn't, Pete.
Well, it depends on many things. For instance, which way you go?
Suppose I refuse to tell you.
Then it will be necessary for me to hold the bridle until you do.
All right.
Where, señorita?
Just to the hill.
Oh, well, it's all right if you go toward the hill.
Yeah, that's about the only safe territory around here.
You boys seem to think I'm about 6 years old. Get up there, Blackie.
Don't go any farther than the hill.
Hey.
What is it?
Look, our friend Mr. Morgan going to ranch house.
Yeah, steal a little cash, maybe.
Just 1 second until I get the rope.
What's the idea?
We take care of him right now. Come on.
You mean take him to the Lone Ranger, huh?
See, first he does not want to hire us. Then we do such good job that Senorita Ellen will not let him fire us.
So he pays a gunman to run us off the place.
Pedro Martinez de Salvador y Droniega has reached the end of his rope. He make a loop in it. This way. And get ready to use it.
I'm with you, pal.
Hey, hello, boy.
Buenas noches, Senor Bill Morgan. What do you do?
Me? Just doing a little paperwork. What can I do for you?
Well, you can watch while I show you a little trick with rope.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pedro. I don't have any time for tricks tonight.
No? We see.
Hey!
Perfect.
Get this rope off
me. So sorry, senor, but you are going to pay a little visit to a friend of ours tonight.
The Lone Ranger, mister.
What are you talking about?
Stand up. Get his arms behind his back, Pete.
Yeah. Is this a joke?
You will not think so for long. There. Does that rope feel like joke?
But what's the idea?
You hired a gunman to run us off the ranch.
You're crazy.
You tell us all about it. Do not try to lie, Senor Morgan. We have the goods all over you.
Now, wait a minute, boys. If you've met up with a gunman, I didn't hire him. It was Grant. He's been trying to buy this ranch.
You can tell your story to the Lone Ranger. Now, come on.
Hey, what is that? What happened outside?
Well, that's Ellen.
Pete.
Yeah?
Don't leave me here like this.
They wear masks. These outlaws.
Grab your shooting iron. Oh, we can't shoot. We'll hit Miss Ellen.
Killer, those dirty crook.
Hey, grab those two.
We use our gun butts. Fire!
They're going to fight. Give it to them.
We give it to you first. Come on, Pete.
I'm with you, pal.
2 against 20. The unequal struggle began. Pete and Pedro made a desperate effort to free Ellen and break loose from Grant's crew. In less than 10 minutes, it was all over. Ellen and Bill, Pete and Pedro, tied hand and foot, lay on the floor of the ranch house living room. Outside, Grant and his men prepared to finish their work.
They're going to set fire to the place.
Bill, if they do, Slim and Rocky will stay no matter where they are.
We can hope, darling, but they're a long way out tonight.
You watch your tongue. That is no way for proof to speak to Miss Ellen.
What'd I say?
You call her darling. She She does not know truth about you. Since we are all to die, we will not tell her. But you
Bill
are...
isn't a crook, Pedro.
He hired a gunman to run
No, Pete, can't you understand yet? It was Grant who did that. That's Grant and his men outside. He's the one who's trying to get this ranch.
Of course.
Well, how you said dogguns. We have made a mistake, Pete.
It sure looks that way.
It's too bad your feet are tied. I would like for you to give Pedro de Salvador Iruniega swift kick.
And that does it.
Listen.
Give me your saddle. Front horse. I tell you the plan from the home, you fool. The sooner we get away from here, the better. Get up, Get up. Get up.
Boys,
See, what is it, Miss Ellen?
don't think badly about your mistake. Didn't make any difference.
We didn't have Bill tied up. He could have helped us.
You worked hard and you put up a grand fight. Bill and I want to thank you. Don't we, Bill?
Sure do. Well, if Pedro has to die, he's glad that he's in such good company.
Yeah.
Bill.
What, Ellen?
Pete, you hear what I hear? Miss Ellen, it's a Lone Ranger.
What?
Listen.
It is him for sure. He will set us free. The door isn't locked and the fire hasn't cut us off.
That's him. He's stopping out in front.
Bill, we're safe.
Senor, you are welcome.
You first, Miss Ellen. Outside.
Can we save the ranch?
No, there's a stiff breeze and the back is blazing. This is the only building that'll go.
Thanks.
Now get your horse saddled, Bill.
Right. Come on, Ellen.
One for Pete and one for Pedro.
Gracias, senor.
What do you plan to do, masked man?
Get outside, both of you.
You see, you know it was fellow named Grant who set fire to this place.
I know.
He had about 20 men with him. There's only 4 of us.
Get over to the corral and give Bill a hand with those horses.
See.
Run. Steady, Silver. Yep. Come on.
I'll tie the cinches on mine, Bill.
Where are we heading, masked man?
Wherever it is, I'm going to.
We'll ride for Grant's place. Take cover in the woods and wait for me there.
Where are you going?
I've sent Tonto for the sheriff and the posse. I'm going to meet them on the trail.
Well, we got all the evidence we need.
More than enough. Come on, Silver.
We will be waiting for you, senor.
Hail, Silver! Away!
The great white stallion leaped forward. For 2 miles, the Lone Ranger raced along the trail. Then he cut away to avoid the Grant spread. Across the open prairie, faster and faster. On toward the sheriff's posse and Tonto.
Come on, Silver! We'll meet them at the bridge! Hail, Silver! Away!
On their return home, most of Grant's men had headed straight for the bunkhouse after unsaddling their horses. But Red followed the rancher into the house. He stood at one of the windows in the living room, looking toward the west, in the red glare that had once been Ellen Carter's ranch.
Come over here to the window, boss.
What is it?
Just look at that fire. It's lighting up the whole sky.
I told you this was the best place to watch it from.
It can't last much longer.
Tomorrow there'll be nothing but ashes.
Won't the sheriff ask some questions?
Hey, what if he does? There's nobody to testify we had a hand in it. Nobody at all.
No. Nobody.
Yeah, what's the matter with you? You look like a sick calf.
I was just thinking. 6 of them. 4 there, 2 here.
Forget it.
Yeah, that's hard.
You better tell the boys that every one of them is in this so deep that they could swing for it. Tell them to keep their traps shut.
Too late for that, Grant.
What the?
You're under arrest.
Hello! And it's too late to call for your men, Grant. We rounded them up already.
A masked man.
I recognize that voice. He's on it. We threw into the shack.
Keep talking.
Hello, Grant.
And Bill Morgan and Miss Carter.
Pete Stacy and his very good friend Pedro Martinez de Salvador Iruniega. You start bonfire to kill us. Instead, it cook your goose.
How did they get out, boss? How could
Shut up. You're heading for town, Grant. You and your whole crew. If you don't hang for this, you'll spend the rest of your lives in jail. Now, get moving.
It's all over.
Yes, Miss Carter. But before I go, I have a word to say to Pete and Pedro.
Si, senor.
And just step outside with me.
What is it, masked man?
I want you to make me a promise.
Oh, anything at all.
All right, men. Back to town.
Now, this is far enough. Miss Carter's ranch house has been burned down.
See.
There'll be a lot of work on the place until it's rebuilt. I want you to promise that you won't leave for California until the work has been done.
Pedro promise.
Me too.
Pedro stay on ranch for a long time. He like Miss Carter very much. Someday, maybe he ask her to be his wife.
Sure. Hey!
It's a good idea, no, Pete?
Yeah, it's a good idea, yes, but I'm the one who's going to ask her to get hitched.
So, you're a double-crosser.
Them's fighting words.
Hey, we fight the two right now.
I'm ready.
Just a moment, you two.
I forget you are here. But you cannot stop us.
I'm not going to try. But I think Miss Carter has something to tell you. You better find out what it is before you start shooting.
Chimasabi.
I'm coming, Tonto.
We go back inside.
Yeah. We'll find out what he means, and I'll take it.
Now, don't cry, Ellen.
It's just that I'm so happy.
Same here. Oh, we can get married now. Right away.
Oh, Bill.
Well, golly. She's going to marry him.
See. And that masked man, he has made us promise to stay here till work is done.
Hey. Look at him. What do you think of that?
What do I think? Pedro Martinez de Salvador y Roniega think the Lone Ranger is one smart fellow,
The story you have just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman. Guys, look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman!
And now, Superman, champion of the weak and the oppressed, who came to Earth from the planet Krypton with physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who fights a never-ending battle against crime and injustice, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a large metropolitan newspaper. The mystery surrounding the identity of Sidney Rycroft, British explorer, grows more baffling with each passing minute. Two people, a man and a woman, claim to be the real Sidney Rycroft. On several occasions, Superman has saved the life of the girl from murderous attacks made on her by Humi, an Egyptian who is searching for the sacred black pearl of Osiris. In our last episode, we heard how Tumbleweed Jones, taken to a hospital to have a bullet removed from his leg, was spirited out of the hospital by a mysterious stranger. Kent, desperately trying to find a solution to the mystery, learned about Tumbleweed's disappearance and immediately started out to rescue his friend as Superman. As our last episode ended, Tumbleweed was being driven across a bridge when suddenly he took matters into his own hands, grabbed the wheel, and sent the car crashing off the bridge into the river below. Now we join Superman as he flies through the streets of the quiet city, following the trail of the car in the snow. Listen.
Even with the power of supervision at my command, it's almost impossible to follow the tracks of that car because the falling snow is rapidly filling them in. If I don't hurry, I'm sure to lose them altogether. Faster, faster! These tracks seem to be heading for the South River Bridge. I'm almost sure of that. If I'm to make time, I'd better take a chance and head for the bridge. I may be wrong, but I'd better take that. There's the bridge in the distance. What was that? Sounded like a splash, as if a large object had struck the water. Now, there's the bridge almost below me. Wait, what's that? The railing torn away. Tracks of the car leading up to it. The car crashed through. The splash I heard was the car hitting the water. We've got to work fast. Tumbleweeds in that car at the bottom of the river. Dive! Dive! Now! Black down here under the water. Even I can hardly see. But I must find the car. Must be here on the bottom somewhere. Got to find it quickly. Quickly or I'll be too late. Ah, there it is. Turned on its side. Yes, by heaven, it's Tumbleweed inside there, jammed against the wheel. Got to get him out. Got to get him out fast.
Yes? No, send him right up. I can't understand it. Not at all. I'm either going crazy or I actually did see it. As I swam away after coming to the surface, Now, come in. I say come in.
Quiet. You're the guy that telephoned for somebody half hour ago.
That's right. And you?
Sleepy Sam, they call me.
Oh, happy to meet you, Sleepy. Pull up that chair and sit down.
Don't mind a chair. I'll just lay right down here on this couch if you don't mind. I feel kind of tired.
Looking at you, I'm beginning to wonder whether you're as dangerous as they tell me you are.
I'm the #1 torpedo in this town.
Torpedo? I don't think I understand.
Torpedo, that's another word for trigger man, a guy what bumps people off the dough. Anything you want done, I do it. For a price.
And I didn't make a mistake in calling you.
Try me and see. If you don't mind, I'm going to close my eyes. You just go ahead and talk. I'll be listening.
Very well. About 3 hours ago, I was driving across the South River Bridge with a man named Tumbleweed Jones. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
I was taking him somewhere he didn't want to go. Well, to be brief, he forced the car off the bridge and into the river. As the car fell through space, I opened the door of the driver's seat and jumped out. I managed to swim ashore despite the... Devil take you, are you listening?
Sure. When I snore, it shows I'm interested. Go ahead, keep talking.
Well, I swam ashore despite the treacherous currents, and when I got there, I waited to see if Tumbleweed Jones would come to the surface. You hear me?
And did he?
Yes, he did. But in rather a strange manner. No need to go into that.
I gotta know all the facts.
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Talk, brother.
Well, as I swam toward shore, I looked over my shoulder and saw what I took to be a man flying through the air. When I looked again, he was gone. But as I reached the shore, I saw this same thing, this man, come to the surface and go right on up into the air. He had another man in his arms. I'm sure that man was Tumbleweed Jones.
And I am sure you're not.
No, I told you wouldn't believe me.
Hey, what are you trying to do? Give me a fancy fairy tale? Malarkey.
Now listen. If Tumbleweed Jones is still alive, I've got to get my hands on him.
Why?
I can't tell you that.
You gotta know all the facts.
It isn't necessary for you to know why I want Tumbleweed. All you've got to do is get him and bring him here. You'll be well paid.
How much?
What's your price?
Half a G, $500.
500? You're out of your mind.
Okay, good night, brother. I'm going home to bed.
Now, wait a minute. I'll give you 300.
I'm awful sleepy. Good night. Let me know if you change your mind.
Now, hold on here. You guarantee to get this Tumbleweed person and bring him to me?
If I don't deliver the goods, you don't pay a cent.
Very well. It's a deal. You deliver Tumbleweed Jones to me here, and you'll get your 500.
Okay. Now, kind of give me a line on this guy. Tell me some places where I may be able to find him.
Feel any better, Tumbleweed?
Don't you worry none about me, kid. I'll be all right. But I still don't understand how I got out of that car under the river and onto dry land again. Unless it was that Superman fella or something.
Gee, do you really think so, Tumbleweed?
You know how else it could be, Jimmy.
Oh, stop talking nonsense, you two. Here, Tumbleweed. I'm going to pour some more hot water into this basin. And be sure you keep your feet in it.
Hey, hold Tommy for ornery cayuse, kid. You're just about burning the feet off of me.
Well, the doctor said to take care of you.
Doctor, the doctor. Horse doctor, I called him. Why, he wouldn't even remove that bullet from my leg. Said there wasn't no hurry, and he didn't want to probe for it without I was on a hospital operating table.
Well, he knew what he was doing, Tumbleweed.
Well, if he did, Kent, he's the only man I've met since coming to Metropolis that didn't know what he was doing. Kent, I never did see such an amount of fuss and trouble since meeting up with you. You just seem to have a natural affinity for trouble.
Well, Mr. Kent and me are reporters, you know, Tumbleweed. And reporters sure can get into trouble.
You got something there, Laughing Squirrel. Now, you take this here. It's a mess. I got in it tonight. Now, what in the world did that fellow want with me?
Well, that's hard to say, Tumbleweed, but I got a feeling that his reason is somehow mixed up with this mystery about Sidney Rycroft and the sacred Black Pearl of Osiris.
Sacred Black Pearl of Osiris. Gosh, that sounds exciting, Mr. Kent. And what's even more exciting is that story you told us about the hotel room disappearing and everything.
That hotel room hasn't disappeared, Jimmy. It was merely changed, that's all.
What do you mean?
Well, look at it this way. I go to see Miss Sidney Rycroft, the British explorer, at the hotel where I know she's staying. I know she's staying there because I've been to see her there 2 or 3 times. The hotel clerk tells me no one has ever occupied the room she's been staying in. I go up to the room and discover that it's nothing but a place for storing cleaning materials, brooms and carpet sweepers and all the rest of it.
Amazing.
No, not at all, Tumbleweed. It just proves that someone changed that room. Took the furniture out and put those cleaning things in. And very probably bribed the hotel clerk to invent a story for my benefit.
Why would anyone go to all that trouble?
Well, Jimmy, I think the answer to that is simple, too. Now, look. Several days ago, we met Miss Rycroft for the first time. And we went to the theater with her.
To see the Great Gambini, sure.
Right.
And when the Great Gambini made her vanish and then didn't make her reappear again, we went backstage to find out what had happened.
Sure. You found out that theater hadn't been used in years. That there hadn't even been a performance there that night. But what's all this leading up to?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know, Mr. Kent.
Well, Tumbleweed and Jimmy, it all comes to this. Someone is trying to convince us that Miss Sidney Rycroft doesn't exist.
She doesn't exist? But why?
Well, that's something we've got to find out. Just how, I don't know. But now, gentlemen, I'm going to leave you. Editor White wants to see me down at the Daily Planet. Now, Jim, you be sure to keep Tumbleweed bundled up.
Oh, shucks, Kent. I ain't no child. I'm all right.
I just don't want to take any chances, Tumbleweed. All right. I'll see you two later. Go on.
Goodbye. No, I just can't understand it, Jim. I reckon Hal Kent's right. I reckon there is someone trying to make us believe Miss Rycroft doesn't exist. But I sure can't see why.
I can't either.
And there's that Superman fella. I bet everything I own it was him that saved me from that automobile. Ted says he found me laying outside the door here, half drowned and... Who are you?
Don't move, fellas.
What, Tommy? How'd you get in here?
Fire escape. You're Tumbleweed Jones, ain't you?
That's right, but put down that gun.
Shut up. You kid, get in that closet over there.
No, wait a minute.
Yeah, put down that gun and listen to me.
Shut up, I tell you, I'll pull his trigger. Now go on, kid. Get in that closet. You'll be okay there till that guy Kent comes back.
Tumbleweed, what'll I do?
You better do like the man says, Laughing Squirrel. His trigger finger looks awful itchy.
Okay.
That's right, kid. Get in there.
Listen, you idiot.
Now, don't look so worried, mister. He'll be all right.
Yeah?
He's got enough air. He'll be plenty comfortable in there. Plus, Daddy won't get in my hair, see? Now, all we got to do is worry about you.
What do you mean, stranger?
I mean, get your feet out of that basin of hot water, put some clothes on, let's get going.
I'm getting kind of tired of all this moving around. Just seems like nobody will give me a minute's rest. Where do you want to take me? And why?
You'll find out. Now, come on. The quicker we get this done, the quicker I get home to bed. Put your clothes on, let's get started.
Now, look here, fella. I don't like it. I don't like it either.
What is the meaning of this sudden interest in Tumbleweed Jones? Why is the mysterious stranger so anxious to get hold of our cowboy friend? And with Superman disguised as Clark Kent on his way to the office of the Daily Planet, how will he save Tumbleweed this time? Be sure to hear the next thrilling episode of our mystery story with Superman. And remember, tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman. Up in the sky, look! It's a plane! It's a plane! It's Superman! Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Jack Armstrong, the all-American boy. Wave the flag for Hudson High, boys. Show them how we stand. Ever shall our team be champions, known throughout the land. Wheaties, breakfast of champions, bring you the thrilling adventures of Jack Armstrong, the all-American boy. Listen, I'm willing to bet my old hand-painted mustache cup that you'd never buy a wagon with only 3 wheels or a rifle without a barrel. No, sir. You'd want that wagon complete with 4 wheels and that rifle complete with a barrel. And I wouldn't blame you a bit. When you stop to think about it, you feel the same way about the food you eat, don't you? When you have your choice between a really nourishing breakfast and one that's only half there, you pick the complete one every time, I know. That's one very good reason why I think you'll want to make Wheaties your year-round training breakfast. You see, some so-called whole wheat foods, and this includes some breakfast dishes, lose an important part of their nourishment when they're being manufactured. When you eat them, you're only getting a part of the nourishment that nature packed into the whole wheat berry. But that's not the case with Wheaties. No, sir. Wheaties give you every bit of the well-known essential nourishment of 100% choice whole wheat. You get all of the food energy, all of the minerals, and all of those very necessary vitamins B1 and G that are naturally present in whole wheat. And that's a mighty important thing to keep in mind if you're interested in making a name for yourself in sports. Eating the right kinds of nourishing food is a major part of every good training program. And you can be sure that you're getting the extra good nourishment of choice whole wheat every time you sit down to a bowl of Wheaties. So if you'd like to eat the same training breakfast that's eaten the year round by hundreds of famous athletes, if you want to be sure that you're getting all of the well-known essential nourishment of whole wheat, take my advice and ask Mother to serve you Wheaties, milk, and fruit, a real breakfast of champions every morning. It's a great breakfast dish. And now, Jack Armstrong, the All-American Boy. Do you hear those monkeys chattering their heads off in the dark night? Well, they're not monkeys at all. They are Jack and Billy and Betty hiding in the thicket near their campsite in the wild Zamboanga Peninsula in Mindanao. A trail runs near that thicket, and Melua, disguised as Zulata, the old Moro peddler, has intercepted Yates and Mikayo. Yates had just come from the cave of the smuggled rifles, which Jack and Uncle Jim are trying to locate. And if Yates discovers that Jack and Uncle Jim and the others are in that vicinity, he will certainly inform the hostile natives. Just listen to him. While Uncle Jim and Michelle are away in the darkness, trying to keep their pack horse quiet, Jack and Billy and Betty are hidden in this thicket to help Melua in case Yates sees through his disguise. But Yates has heard them in the thicket, and right now Jack and the others are imitating a pack of monkeys, trying to make Yates believe that there's no one in the thicket. But Yates is suspicious. Listen.
I tell you, Salata, that doesn't sound like monkeys to me. What's going on around here?
They sound very like monkeys to me, Senor Yates. Me go and see, huh?
Oh, no, you don't. How do I know you're not mixed up in some funny business yourself? It's mighty strange you happen to be here right now anyway.
Me tell you why me here, Senor Yates. The mighty chief, Karang, sent me to cave to see...
Yeah, that's your story. Come to think of it, you know quite a lot about these smuggled rifles.
Me just told Moro peddler, Senor Yates.
You'd better be. If I ever found out that you were something else, you wouldn't do any more peddling or anything else.
Jack, Yates has already begun to suspect that Mary wasn't really just a peddler.
Yeah, there's going to be trouble here in a minute, Billy. Keep on your toes and keep on imitating a monkey. We can't stop now.
Oh, Jack, he hasn't found us yet. Can't we slip away before he comes in here?
Not a chance, Betty. He's too close to us now, and he still has his flashlight.
I'm going to find out what's in that thicket. It may be monkeys, and then it may be some of your friends, Salata.
Me just told peddler, Senor Yates. Me got no friend.
I'm not so sure about that. Where's that man of mine? Where's Mikhail?
Mikhail right behind you, Senor Yates. Why you want him, huh?
Mikhail, I'm going into that thicket. We'll see what kind of monkeys we have in there.
Oh, me go and see, Senor Yates. Maybe him wild tamaro in bush. Maybe wild tamaro with sharp horns. When you get off, me go see.
Nothing doing, Salata. Keep an eye on him, Mikhail. All right, you monkeys in there. I'm going to see if you are monkeys. In just 3 seconds, I'm going to fire this pistol into those bushes. We'll see what happens then.
Jack, let's rush him. Let's rush him and take him by surprise.
One.
Got a gun in his hand, Bill. We've got Betty with us. We can't take a chance.
Two.
Don't do anything you'll be sorry for, Yates.
Oh, so the monkeys can talk. All right, come on out. Let's take a look at you. Don't move, Salata. Stay where you are. I'm a bad man to fool with. Come on out, you talking monkey.
Now, Yates, here I am. What are you going to do about it?
Well, so it's you, Jack Armstrong. I might have guessed it. Always crossing my path. Always interfering in my business.
It's a pretty serious business, isn't it, Yates? Smuggling rifles into these hill tribes?
So, you know all about that, do you? Who else is in there with you?
Hello, Mr. Yates. You're a lot braver now than when we last saw you.
My, Yates. I bet you're surprised to see me, too.
So, the whole pack of you are together, huh? All right, keep in the light of this flashlight where I can see you. You too, Salata.
You look at me, yet.
I'm looking at you, you old broken-down rascal.
Jack, look, Mallow is straightening up. He's wiping the paint from his face.
And look at Yates. Look at his portrait. He's recognizing Mallow. Why, he's trembling in his boots.
You look at me, Yates. Now you know me, huh?
So it's you, Mallow.
That's right, Yates. You know me now.
So you've been spying on me. You came up here, this country, to spy on me. Who are you working for? Are you in the pay of the government?
You're not very smart man yet. You work for Sultan Buloa. He very bad man, but he smart man. You not very smart.
Well, I'm smart enough to keep you covered with this gun, Malua. And we'll see who's smart when I turn you over to Karang. Mikhail, tie him up. Then we'll tie up the others. And I'll stand guard on them until you get Karang and his men here.
Oh, Jack, we can't let Yates tie up Mallow.
You won't get a chance, Betty. Do you see that shadow in the dark coming up behind Yates? Jumping, Jim, it's Uncle Jim. Shh, don't look in that direction. Don't let Yates suspect anything.
What's that I see hanging on your belt, Jack Armstrong?
I'll let you find out, Yates.
I know what it is. It's that pedometer the Army gave you. You've been using it to help locate that cave. Well, you won't use it anymore. I'll use it myself. Hand it over.
Sure, I'll hand it over. You can use it to see how far you have to walk to find Uncle Jim. Here, take it.
Mikhail, hold this light a minute. Keep it shining on everybody here. Now, Jack Armstrong, I'll take that pedometer. It's still working, is it? Yeah, let's see how far you've been walking today.
Don't look now, Betty, but Uncle Jim is creeping up behind you.
I've been watching him, Billy. No, I hope he's careful.
Don't worry. He'll grab that gun the first thing. Then I'll rush out to help him, and Jack will help Michelle get Mikhail.
What are you two whispering about? If you think that...
Uncle Jim. I'll help Uncle Jim, Jack. You help Manuel. Okay, Billy. And boy, Manuel. Watch out for him. He's on his back. Pick up Jack's gun. Oh, okay, Uncle Jim.
Look out there. Mikhail's coming after you with his knife. Oh, look. Mallow.
Well, Manuel. He not hurt anybody with Baron, Patty.
All right, Yates. I've got you now. Are you going to behave, or do you want some more medicine? So it's you, Captain Fairfield.
Yes, it is.
Mikhail, where are you? What are you doing?
He's not doing anything right now, Yates. Mallow and Jack have him well in hand. Billy, hand me Yates' gun. I'll put it away where he can't do any harm with it.
Here it is, Uncle Jim. Look out, it's all loaded and cocked.
I'll fix that. There, we'll empty the magazine. And now, Yates, you come along with me to my tent. I've a few questions to ask you.
You won't get anything from me.
We'll see about that. Come along. Jack, you and Mallow will bring that Mora with you. Keep an eye on him.
We'll watch him, Uncle Jim.
He not run away, Uncle Jim. He know me fix him right if he try. What happened to that flashlight, Betty?
Here it is, Uncle Jim. Mikhail dropped it on the ground. Here, I'll shine it ahead so you can see.
Good. Billy, you stay close to Yates. If he tries to get away, we'll nab him before he goes very far.
Oh, he won't get very far, Uncle Jim.
What do you think you're going to do with me, Captain Fairfield?
We're going to find out a few things, Yates. As a matter of fact, we know most of what's going on.
You do you? Well, how much do you know?
I won't tell you all we know, Yates. I'll just tell you a few things. We know you're in the pay of Sultan Buloa.
Well, suppose I am.
The government will give you an answer to that. And we know you've been smuggling rifles into this country.
You can't prove it.
I'm just telling you a few of the things we know, Yates. We know that Buloa and Karang are planning a general uprising against the U.S. troops. And we know that you're working with Karang. Betty, flash your light on our tent.
Okay.
There it is. We go in that direction, Yates.
You think you know a lot about me, don't you?
Yes, we think we do. And we know that you and Karang have brought those rifles up from the coast and hidden them in a mountain cave.
And you'd like to know where that cave is, wouldn't you?
We'll know in good time. Mallow has been there.
Just what do you plan to do with me? You've no right to hold me. You're not an officer of the government.
As far as I'm concerned, Yates, you're a highway robber who has held up Jack and Billy and Betty with a gun. I've got a perfect right to hold you until I turn you over to the authorities.
A fat chance you have, Captain Fairfield. Why, Karang and his men will be on your trail before you ever leave this country.
We've handled Karang and his men before, Yates, and they're not on our trail now.
Here's the tent, Uncle Jim.
Get inside, Yates. Mallow, you hold Mikhail outside. We'll keep Yates in the tent for a little while and talk to him. Jack, you and Billy can come in, too. Give me that flashlight, Betty. Inside, Yates.
Not a very roomy tent. I see you've been making a map. You've been making a map of this stream, huh? You've been making a map to locate that cave. So that's what Jack Armstrong has been using that pedometer for.
Well, incidentally, you might give the pedometer back to Jack.
Here you are.
Thanks. You don't seem to like the idea of that cave appearing on a map, Yates.
You haven't got it on the map yet. You haven't found it yet. And you're not going to find it. Kerrang and his men will get you first.
You'll see about that later. Stop leaning on that tent pole, Yates.
Man, not much of a tent pole, is it? There.
What happened?
And the light went out. Something terrible.
Uncle Jim! Oh, I've got Yates, Jeff. I'm holding on to him. He can't get out from under here. I got him.
You've got me.
Oh, Charlie.
Somewhere under this tent.
There. I got him. No, for sure.
You're wrong again, Billy. That's me you've got.
Oh, sorry, Uncle Jim.
Pretty soon he'll be gone. I'm getting out of this tent so I can see.
Which way you going? How you get out?
Here, Billy. Back over your head this way. Here we are. Crawl out quick.
Crawling out. Here I am. Where's Yates? Did you see Yates, Betty?
There he goes, Billy, right down toward the creek.
I see him, Billy. He's just ahead of us. We'll get him at the creek. Hurry. Oh, golly, he's gotten away. He's swimming across the creek. I'm going after him. Come on, Jack.
Don't go after him, Billy. Let him go.
Well, Uncle Jim, if he gets away, he'll tell Kerrang. We'll have all of Kerrang's men after us.
I know it, Billy. Yates hasn't a flashlight now. He can't do anything except wait on the other side of the stream until daybreak. Then he'll have to walk to the village. It'll be a long time before Kerrang's men can get here. And by that time, if we're lucky, we'll have located the cave and be on our way to the coast. So come on, you two, and get some rest. We've got a busy time ahead of us.
Say, they will have a busy time tomorrow. And they'll have to work fast because Kerrang and his men will certainly be hot on their trail as soon as Yates reaches the village. If that cave is guarded by hostile tribesmen, then Jack Armstrong and Uncle Jim and the others will be... why, they'll be practically surrounded. There's an exciting time coming up, so be on hand, all of you, at this same time tomorrow for another thrilling episode in the Zamboang Adventure with Jack Armstrong, the All-American Boy. Now, I want to remind every friend of Jack Armstrong's who is saving Wheaties Champ Stamps to keep his eyes open for new Champ Stamp sets. You know, there are 39 of these keen-looking stamps in all, and if you miss out on one or two sets, your Champ Stamp album won't be complete. So check up today and ask Mother to get you some more Wheaties. That's the one and only way to get those Champ Stamps that are making such a big hit with people like you all over the country.
Have you tried Wheaties? They're whole wheat with all of our brand.
This is Franklin McCormick saying goodbye until tomorrow for General Mills, makers of Wheaties, Breakfast of Champions, who have just presented another episode of Jack Armstrong, the All-American Boy.
So just buy Wheaties, the best breakfast food in the land. Wave the flag for Hudson High, boys. Show them how we stand. Every time.
Lux presents Hollywood. The Lux Radio Theater brings you Shirley Temple, Charles Winninger, and Gene Lockhart in Captain January. Ladies and gentlemen, your producer, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille. Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. It's you who make stars, and you made Shirley Temple a star long before she knew what a star was. A few years ago, when she was just learning the mysteries of spelling, which I've never been able to solve, she tried her newfound knowledge on signs along the street. Much to her astonishment, the letters on a theater marquee spelled her own name, and she couldn't imagine how it got there. Tonight, that name shines on our marquee, with the title of the play, Captain January, adapted from one of Shirley's most successful pictures for 20th Century Fox. It's the story of a little girl named Star, and a lovable old salt named Captain January, and of what happened when fate tried to pull them apart. But with Charles Winninger and Gene Lockhart on Shirley's side, fate has a tough assignment. Of course, we can't please all the people all the time, but I'm inclined to think we'll hit a new high tonight. And who knows, perhaps everyone in our audience will imitate the lady who has just written us saying, "Thank you very much for last week's play and for a wonderful team of stars. I enjoyed them immensely, and I think I'll buy an extra package of Lux Flakes just to please you." I'm grateful to the lady, and our answer is that, of course, her decision pleases us. But best of all, we know it's going to please her, just as the play did. And that's always a safe prediction, whether it's the very first package of Lux Flakes that someone has bought or the 101st. Now we're off for the New England shore and the stirring drama of Captain January. You'll hear Shirley Temple as the little girl whose name is Star, Charles Winninger as Captain January, and Jean Lockhart as Captain Nasro. The curtain rises on Act One. In from the northeast roars a biting winter gale, lashing the rocky coast of Maine, whipping the dull green sea into a white frenzy of foam. Somewhere in this mad mountainous world, a sailing vessel rolls and pitches, her decks awash beneath the heavy seas. In a last desperate plea for mercy, she lifts her spars to the black sky. But mercy is denied. With a groan and a shudder, the gallant craft slips downward to her grave.
Shipwreck! Shipwreck! The Hudson's off Cape Ship has gone down with all hands! Captain January wants you. He found a small boat in the sea just off Great Rock. He dragged it up on the beach.
You mean a boat from the Huntress?
Yes, sir. And there was someone in it.
Where is he now? At Great Rock?
Yes, sir. I'll take you there, sir.
Never mind. I'll find him myself. Captain January! Where are you? January!
Over here! Take care over them rocks there.
For heaven's sake, you wanted me.
I did, sir. But it's too late. She's gone. She? Who? A passenger off the Huntress. Been adrift half the day in an open boat. Come over this way, sir. There she is. May heaven rest her soul.
This woman's been dead for hours.
Aye, sir. Died saving the little one she did in her arms around her, keeping the warmth of life in her.
The little one? Was there someone else?
Look here, sir, under the tarpaulin. Warm and snug.
Why, it's a child.
A baby, sir, smiling like a little angel. That's the way she was when I took her from her mother's arms.
Captain, we'll have to bring this child up to the village at once.
Please, sir, if it's all the same to you, I'll just bring her along to my place.
Your place? I hardly think a lighthouse is the proper place for a child, Captain.
Why not, sir? I'm cozy up there, and you see, well, sir, it's like she was delivered into my hands. Like the Lord might have asked me to take care of her for a while, to sort of watch over her until he'd made his plans for her.
You're a good man, Captain. All right. Take her along to the lighthouse. If anyone inquires after her in the village, I'll let you know.
Thank you, sir. Up you go, child.
Wait. Did you find anything that might give us a clue as to who this child is?
No, sir. Only this locket. It was held tight in the woman's hand. And that reminds me, she'll have to have a name, won't she? What kind of a name is there for a baby girl washed up on a stormy beach? With the weather clearing as she comes to shore, and the evening star peeping out from behind the clouds. Aye, that's it. Star. That's your name, child. We'll call you Star.
You hear that? It's 6 o'clock. 6:30.
On time, Cap. What'll you have for breakfast?
What'll I have for breakfast? 6:30, almost lunchtime.
And you can stop pretending you're angry. I don't believe it. Sit down, Cap. Coffee coming up.
Say, ain't you forgetting something?
I don't think so. Let's see. I made my bed. I brushed my teeth. Oh, it's my birthday. Where's my present?
Ah, no breakfast yet, and she wants her present. How do you know you got a present?
You always give me a present.
I give you a spank for every year, too. When'll you have that?
Not now, Cap. After breakfast. I feel tougher after breakfast.
All right, you can pick your own time. But don't you go slipping any shingles in the seat of your breeches like the last time. That spanking hurt me more than it did you.
Honest, Cap. I didn't know there was a nail in it. It's been a long time, hasn't it, Cap?
A long time?
I mean, since you and me shipped together.
9 years today, Star. That's why you're having your birthday.
But I must be more than 9 years old.
Maybe 11 or so. I don't know exactly.
For all we know, maybe I'm 30, huh?
Maybe, but it's highly improbable.
Cap, what did I look like when you fished me out of the water?
I had to wring you out and hang you up to dry.
Tell me all about the storm again?
Now. You've heard about that storm every birthday.
But it gets to be a bigger storm every time you tell it. How many miles did you swim towing the lifeboat with me in your teeth?
I had the tow rope in my teeth, not you.
Last time you told me it was me.
Well, you're a year older now. Star, do you ever get lonely here?
Lonely?
It ain't much of a life for a lass living in a lighthouse.
Who else
No
would I
company?
want?
Huh? Why, I was thinking maybe this ain't the right kind of a life for a youngster. Maybe you ought to go away somewhere. Would you like to, Star?
No, I wouldn't. But if you say that just once more, I will go away. And I won't come back either. Oh, Cap, you're always talking about my going away. Don't you know by now that I'm never going to leave here?
I just like to make sure once in a while that I'm doing right. That you really want to stay, that's all.
Oh, I do. I do. And that's the end of it. Understand?
All right, honey, that's the end of it. Here now. I'll let you have your birthday present.
Oh, Cap, what is it?
There. You like it?
Why, it's a locket. Oh, it's beautiful. Where'd you get it, Cap?
It was in your poor mother's hand the night I found you. There's a picture inside. Here, I'll open it for you.
I can do it. Cap, is that my mother?
I reckon it is, lass. Your mother and you, it must have been taken soon after you were born.
She was very beautiful, wasn't she?
Aye, and you're a lot like her. I've saved it all these years till I thought you were big enough to know what it was and to take care of it.
I will, Cap. I'm going to keep this forever and ever. Thanks, Cap. Oh, my mother was very beautiful, and Cap says I look just like her. That's funny, isn't it, Imogene? I mean, me being beautiful. But you never can tell, can you, Imogene? I might grow up to be beautiful. After all, I'll bet you weren't so much to look at when you were my age. But you're beautiful now, Imogene, and I love you very much. Well, what do you say? That's better.
Star, are you finished with the milking yet?
In a minute, Cap. Hurry up, Imogene. Cap's waiting.
If you hurry, I'll let you go into the village.
The village?
There's a few things we need from the store. Would you like to go?
Sure I would. Right there, Cap. Imogene, will you please cooperate a little? I gotta go into the village.
Morning, Star.
Morning, Captain Jerks.
Hello there, Star.
Captain Nasro.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. Say, are you coming over to the lighthouse tonight, Captain Nasro?
Well, don't know. Santa ain't invited me yet.
Well, I'm inviting you right now. You come on over. Cap and I are having a surprise party all by ourselves.
All right. But you better warn him I'm coming.
Don't worry. I'll tell him to behave. See you tonight, Captain.
I'll be there.
Morning, Mr. Carp.
Morning, Star. What can I do for you?
We need another case of brass polish. Better send it over right away. And don't forget what we get off for being government.
Be there tomorrow, Star.
Tomorrow? We need it today.
Well, I'll try, but there's a lot of summer folks up here already keeping me hopping. I'll do the best I can.
All right. Say, how much are these lollipops?
3 cents apiece.
3 cents? What about the government discount?
Oh, sorry. 2 cents for you, Star.
Thanks. So long, Mr. Carp.
So long.
Oh, Mr. Carp.
Yes, Miss Morgan?
Who was that little girl?
Star? Why, she's Captain January's girl. He's the lighthouse keeper.
I see. I wonder why I haven't seen her in school.
Well, I guess the teacher who was here before wasn't very strict about things like that.
Yes, I know. That's why she isn't here now. I think I'll go and have a talk with that child.
Go right along to school, and I said I wouldn't. Well, I was very polite, Cap, honest. But I said I had to go home.
Good for you. Now go on. What happened then?
Well, one thing led to another, and the next thing I know, she had me by the ear, dragging me along the street.
She did, eh? Well, what did you do?
Well, one thing led to another thing, and the next thing you know, why, she sat down.
On the chair?
No, on the street.
How'd that happen?
I don't know. I can't figure it out.
She tripped, eh? Well, what'd she say then?
Well, I didn't wait to hear. I didn't think I'd better. I just ran.
Good idea. Well, forget about it.
She can't do anything mean to us, can she?
Of course not. Remember, I work for the government. I am the government here.
Yes, but I think she's government, too.
Well, don't worry. This is your birthday.
All right, Cap.
Who's there?
Open up and find out.
Oh, it's Captain Nazaro.
Nazaro.
Come in, Captain.
Evening.
Blind my eyes. Can't I even give a birthday party around here without you barging in?
Pipe down, you cattywampus. I didn't come to see you. Here, honey. Here's your present.
Oh, thank you. Look, Cap, another present.
Present.
Tain't much, honey.
I bet it ain't.
Oh, look, it's a doll.
A doll. Well, a doll.
Well, what of it?
Oh, it's beautiful, Captain Nazaro. Thank you very much. Cap, you're going to invite Captain Nazaro to stay to the party, aren't you?
Well, I wasn't counting on it, but since he's here, sit down, Nazaro.
Good. I'll fix a place for him.
Whether you was counting on it or not, I'm here. And I'm going to stay for a while.
Oh, you are you?
Yes, I are. It's time I was doing a little inspecting around this here lighthouse.
They must have been daft in Washington appointing you an inspector. Why, you don't know the difference between a telescope and a tar barrel.
The way you handle them, I guess there ain't any. Look at that brass work.
Well, what's the matter with it?
It's dirty.
It is not. The brass was clean till you rubbed your dirty gloves on it.
Why, you fog-bound old derelict? If you wasn't my host, I'd fire you right now.
Yeah, and if you wasn't my guest, I'd quit.
Come and get it, sailors. You know, it's nice to see you two getting on for a change. Here, Captain Nazaro. You sit right there.
Thank you, Star.
And you here, Cap.
Say, what's that thing there?
What do you think it is?
It's a cake, Captain Nazaro. Isn't it nice?
Right pretty.
Cap made it all himself.
Oh, he did. Then I guess I'll just eat the candles.
Now listen here, you no-good Dextrop.
Cap, stop it. Now you sit right down and behave yourself. Come in. The door's open.
Good evening.
Oh, my goodness. Cap, it's stormy weather. The school teacher.
Which one of you is Captain January, please?
I'm Captain January.
I'm Mrs. Morgan, the new teacher here.
So, sit down, Mum.
Thank you. Captain January, why isn't this child in school?
Well, I was aiming to send her next year.
What you are aiming to do is of no importance. We have a compulsory education law in this state, and this child is old enough.
How does she know how old I am? We don't even know ourselves.
Don't be impudent.
But I didn't mean to be impudent.
Captain January, this child is being brought up entirely without control. She's rude, disrespectful. She's being raised like an ignorant little heathen.
Now, hold on.
What's more, you might remember that this child is adopted, and it is well within the power of the school authorities to have her taken from you and sent to an institution if you fail to raise her properly.
Taken from me? Why?
Just a minute. Mrs. Morgan, I don't hold none with this mildewed old pirate, but when you say Star's been brought up ignorant, you're talking through your crow's nest. Why, she reads writing and writes down reading better than any 11-year-old on this coast.
What do you mean better than any 11-year-old? There ain't a 13 or 14-year-old here from here to Newfoundland that knows as much as Star.
Oh, nor any 15-year-old either. Or that goes.
Or 16 or 17.
Say, maybe I am 30.
You talk about neglect, Mrs. Morgan. Why, I've been learning her from the best two books there is, the Bible and Bodish.
And just what is Bodish, please?
You never heard of Bodish? Why, it's one of the greatest books ever written. American Practical Navigation by Nathaniel Bodish.
Navigation. Fine reading for a girl of her age.
Any objection to the Bible?
Let me tell you, Captain.
And let me tell you, ma'am. There ain't better reading in the world than the Bible and the Bodish. They both learn you to steer a straight course.
I didn't come here to discuss reading matter. Please have a report to the schoolhouse for an examination next Tuesday. The school board will determine whether or not she's been neglected. And since you seem to think she has the intelligence of a child of 13, we'll call her 13 and give her the test for that age.
Wait. Maybe I'm only 10 or so.
Well, I'll stand on 13.
Very well. Tuesday morning, please. Good night.
Cap, what was she talking about? An institution.
No, don't worry your head about that. Nazaro.
Yeah?
I'd like to speak to you for a minute.
But, Cap, the party.
It's something about the light, Star. We'll be right down. Come on up to the light, Nazaro.
Well, you certainly are a lubber, January. What was the idea of insisting that Star was as smart as a girl of 13?
Well, she is, ain't she?
Sure, but why make it tough for yourself?
Well, I reckon I did put my foot in it.
I'm afraid you did. After all, Star doesn't even belong to you, you know.
Doesn't belong to me?
That's what I said. You got no legal right to her. You never even adopted her.
She's more than adopted. She's part of me.
That's all right, but 'tain't the law. When you fished her out of the water, you should have turned her over to the authorities, or tried to find out if she'd had any folks anywhere.
I did try.
Yes, you did.
Well, I tried for a while. I couldn't keep trying forever. Anyway, she has no folks. They're all dead.
Are they? How do you know?
Well, they never come for her. No one's ever asked for her.
And you're just hoping they never will.
What business is it of yours? She's mine. She's mine. And nobody's going to ever take her from me.
Lobsters! Get your lobsters. Lobsters here. Right in the water.
Lobsters! Fresh lobsters! Baby lobsters! 15 cents!
Hello.
Hello. Lobsters! Fresh lobsters! Baby lobsters!
What have you got there? Lobsters?
Oh, no, they're shrimp, but don't tell anybody. Lobsters!
You can't fool me. They're lobsters.
All right, they're lobsters. Go away, will you? Get your lobsters! Fresh lobsters!
You live in this place.
Lobsters! Fresh from the water!
I said you live in this place.
Lobsters! 15 cents!
I come from New York.
Tourist. Lobsters! Baby lobsters!
Do these things bite?
Certainly they bite.
I don't believe it.
Look, Sonny, go away, please.
I want to see if they bite.
Well, if you have to, you have to. Go ahead. See? They bite. Lobsters! Fresh lobsters! How about a nice lobster, lady? 15 cents.
No, thank you.
Best you ever tasted. Just take one home and try it. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, but I'm living at the hotel. You see, I'm a tourist, too.
Oh, I didn't mean that. He was just getting fresh.
I know. I was standing over there watching you. I wonder if you'd tell me something.
Sure, what?
I wonder if you'd tell me where you got that locket you're wearing.
That? Oh, Cap gave me that.
Cap?
Yes, he's my father. Captain January.
Your father. I see.
Laura, where have you been?
Oh, come here, Bruce. Have you some change? I want to buy some lobsters.
Lobsters? What for?
It's all right, lady. I don't want you to buy them if you can't use them.
Oh, real little native, aren't you?
No, sir. I wasn't born here, if that's what you mean.
You weren't? Oh, where were you born?
I don't know. That sounds sort of funny, doesn't it?
But you said your father...
Cap? Oh, well, he's not really my father. I just call him that. You see, he found me and... Well, what are you looking at me that way for?
Go on, dear. What were you saying?
I wasn't saying anything. I gotta go home now. I'm late. Excuse me.
Wait, your lobsters!
They'll be all right. Bye.
Bruce.
Laura, what is it? You look as if... Laura, are you ill?
Bruce, listen to me. That child. I must know who she is. Find out for me. I must know her name.
Mr. DeMille and our stars, Shirley Temple, Charles Winninger, and Jean Lockhart, return in a moment with Act Two of Captain January. But first, let's go eavesdropping in a tiny apartment where a young bride is celebrating her birthday.
Hello, darling. I just came up to say happy birthday.
Why, Ellen, how nice.
I can't stay a minute.
Oh, but do let me show you the present Ted gave me. This lovely house coat.
Gorgeous. And that stunning brooch. Is that from Ted, too?
This? Oh, no, I got this for myself.
So, spending Ted's hard-earned dollars.
Dollars nothing. You'd expect to pay $1, but it cost 15 cents.
Yes, that's the amazing bargain the makers of Lux Flakes are offering you for a limited time. A beautiful Gone with the Wind brooch for 15 cents and the opening tab from a large box of Lux. It's quite different from the Scarlett O'Hara brooch, which was so popular when we offered it last fall, even lovelier. The design was taken from a brooch worn and Gone with the Wind. In the center is a charming rosette of simulated jewels, a turquoise surrounded by 5 gleaming pearls,
The round setting, almost 2 inches in diameter, is gold finished in antique style with a graceful scalloped edge and a dependable safety catch on the clasp. This exquisite Gone with the Wind brooch is so smart, so fashion right, that we know it's going to be tremendously popular. And we're all set to fill your orders promptly. But don't delay. Send for your brooch at once. Now here's what you do. Buy a big box of Lux Flakes. Tear off the opening tab at the top of the box. Mail this tab with your name and address and 15 cents in coin, no stamps please, to Lux, Box 1, New York City. Lux, Box 1, New York City. We'll send you, with your brooch, an illustrated order blank for additional matching pieces. Ring, pendant, bracelet, earrings. All amazing bargains. This offer is good only in the United States. I'll repeat these directions for you later on in this broadcast. But now, here's our producer, Mr. DeMille.
Act 2 of Captain January, with Shirley Temple as Star, Charles Winninger as Captain January, and Gene Lockhart as Captain Nasro. A few days have passed, and Tuesday has rolled round. Fateful Tuesday, when Star is to appear before the school board for her examination. She's told Captain January nothing of her meeting with the lady on the mainland, so the captain's only worry is how to help Star pass. Alone in the lighthouse, he studies a book of grammar, but his brow is furrowed with deep lines as he struggles with the conjugation of the verb to be.
I was, you were, he was, we were, you were, they was, were. That can't be right. Something's all mixed up here. Oh, why didn't I go to school instead of running away to sea?
Morning, Cap.
Oh, hello.
What are you doing, Cap?
Oh, nothing.
I thought you were going to help me with my examination.
Well, I am. Let's see.
How about starting off with a little grammar?
Grammar? Oh, grammar? Oh. No. They won't ask you anything about grammar. We'll begin with arithmetic. Recite the multiplication by 5 table.
Cap, that's kid stuff.
Hmm?
You've got to make it tougher than that.
All right. We'll do the 7 table. Go ahead.
Cap, that's for babies. 8 years old, Cap.
8 years old? 8 years old and they know the multiplication by 7 table?
Sure they do.
Never heard of it until I was 23. Well, all right. We'll skip the arithmetic. Now, let's get on to geography.
Oh, geography. I like that.
Now, here we go. Now, if you were sailing from Boston Harbor to China, to what point of the compass would you turn her nose on the second day out?
Cap, I don't think that's the way they ask them.
No, why not?
Well, Captain Nasro says...
Nasro, always Nasro.
Did I hear my name mentioned?
Hello, Captain. Sit down.
What do you want?
Nothing with you, you desiccated old crawfish. But I thought I'd come and help Star get ready for the examination. You being so illiterate.
Me illiterate? I can spell you down, write you down, read you down, and figure you down. And I can do it with my hands tied behind my back.
No, you couldn't. You need your fingers to count on.
Is that so? I'll bet you can't count over 10 without taking your shoes off.
Look, fellers, I don't like to interfere with your fun, but fighting isn't going to help me pass this test.
She's right. But this might help.
What is it?
Well, you see, Star, I figured it might help things along if we knew the questions they was going to ask. Now, this here is the examination paper. I borrowed it from the schoolroom.
Captain Nasro, that's cheating.
It is?
Of course it is, isn't it, Cap?
Well, yes, it's a very delicate point. Well, we'll talk about it later on. Let's see that paper, Nasro.
Yeah.
Now, Star, the first question. Here. If a field is 87 and a half rods long and 43 and a quarter rods wide, what is the length of the diagonal drawn from the northeast corner to the southwest corner? Prove it.
Well, what's the answer?
What's the answer, Nasra?
Well, how much is a rod? How many fathoms?
Would it do you any good to know?
No.
Well, then keep quiet. Prove that heat expands.
Wait a minute. What's that?
That's the second question.
But we didn't get the answer to the first one.
Well, we're skipping the first one. Prove that heat expands.
Prove that heat expands. What does it mean?
Why, it means prove that heat makes things bigger.
Well, let's see. Sure it does. Look, it's hot in the summertime, isn't it? Well, the days are longer in summer than they are in winter. Well?
Well, that's it.
Sounds logical to me.
100%.
Say, this isn't so tough. What's number 3?
Write down from memory the quality of mercy speech from the Merchant of Venice.
The quality of mercy is not strained.
Is that all?
I think it goes on from there.
Maybe, but my memory doesn't.
This is a put-up job. That old hatchet face of a school teacher is trying to frame us.
Hey, let me see that paper.
There's no child of 13 could answer this stuff. I can't answer it myself.
Wait. I think I've made a mistake.
What?
This is a high school examination.
High school? So you can't even steal proper.
I didn't know. I picked it up in the schoolroom. It said examination. How was I to know there's different tests for different ages?
That's right. How was you to know? You never passed a 13-year-old test, did you?
I could have passed one.
Maybe when you was full grown.
Look, fellers, we're not getting any place. I've got to leave for school soon.
Oh, say, I was thinking, with me telling that Morgan woman that I was teaching Star from the Bible, that's pretty apt to be some questions about the Bible.
Well, there ain't many children as up in the book as she is.
I know, but Star, what are the 4 Gospels?
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Fine. Now, remember that story I read to you last week about the prodigal son?
Uh-huh. And the father said, bring out the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat and be merry.
Correct. But everybody wasn't merry, Star. There was a brother there and neighbors. Now, who was sorry the prodigal son came back?
The fatted calf.
Star!
Ladies and gentlemen of the school board, I think you know why we are here today. This child, Star January, I believe they call her, is to take the 13-year-old test. Sit over there, please.
Thank you.
We also have another student here, a little gentleman from New York. Gerald is going to summer school this year. Sit down, Gerald, dear.
Oh, all right.
Judge Hardrow.
Yes?
Judge, I've invited you here for a very special reason. I don't believe this little girl is being brought up properly. But I let you judge that for yourself. You'll know what to do, I'm sure.
I think so. Begin the examination, Mrs. Morgan.
Now, children, first we'll have an oral test. On the blackboard, you will notice a drawing of 8 fishing schooners.
Excuse me, but they aren't schooners, Mrs. Morgan. They're ketches.
What's that?
You said schooners, but they're really ketches.
I don't believe that makes any difference.
Oh, but it does. You see, a schooner carries its mainmast amidships, and a ketch is more like a yawl. You see...
That will be enough, please.
Yes, ma'am.
On the board, we have 8 ketches. If 4 could carry a load of 100 tons of fish, and 4 could carry twice as much, how many tons could they all carry half-filled? Well, Star?
Well, in the first place, I don't believe you could get 100 tons of fish on a ketch.
That's not the question.
But the boat would sink. They couldn't carry anything.
Be quiet.
Yes, ma'am.
Gerald, do you know the answer?
Half-filled, the 8 boats could carry 600 tons of fish.
Not on top of the water.
No muttering, please. Thank you, Gerald. Now, Star, will you please define a relative pronoun?
What, ma'am?
A relative pronoun. Surely you know that.
No, ma'am.
A relative pronoun is a pronoun that connects 2 clauses and has its antecedents in the other clause.
Very good, Gerald.
Wow.
And now we'll have a test of words and power of description. Gerald, will you please tell us in your own words the story of one of William Shakespeare's plays?
Well, once there was a man named, Romeo. And there was a girl, Juliet,
Go on, dear.
Well, her family was called,
the Capulets.
The Capulets. And his family were named,
Montague.
Star, will you please stop annoying Gerald?
I'm not annoying him. I just want to help him.
Do you? And just what do you know of the story of Romeo and Juliet?
Oh, we got it over at the lighthouse. I read it twice.
And you understood it, of course.
Oh, sure. You see, these Capulets and these Montagues, they hated each other like poison.
Never mind.
So Romeo and Juliet, they couldn't meet. So they met in the garden, sort of on the fly.
I beg your pardon?
The balcony, you know. Well, they couldn't get married on account of the old folks weren't on speaking terms, So this Juliet, she takes a drug and knocks herself cold.
Please.
So what happens? So they stick her in a box and ship her off to a vault. It's as cold as a herring in there, and Romeo thinks she's a gunner. Just then a fella named Paris walks in, and they get into a scrap.
Just a moment.
What a battle. Romeo stabs Paris. Paris stabs Romeo.
Will you please?
Romeo stabs Paris. It's a fight to the finish, and the next thing you know, Paris is on the floor, stabbed through the skittles.
What was that?
The skittles. So then Romeo...
Stop it at once.
But that's not the end yet. Then Romeo...
Be quiet. Now, Judge Harlow, you see what I mean.
I see.
You see the kind of bringing up she's had. What are we going to do with her?
Put her in the 8th grade. She's wonderful.
8th grade, he says. Put her in the 8th grade. Here, Nazareth, have some more cider.
Thank you.
Pretty good for a fella that never had much book learning.
What's book learning got to do with cider?
I ain't talking about cider. I'm talking about educating Star so good that she jumps right into the 8th grade.
You educating her? Why, you couldn't get into the 3rd grade yourself. It was the things I learned that put her through.
Why, you... Who is it?
It's Winthrop, Captain.
The minister.
Oh, come in, sir. Come in.
Morning, Captain.
Morning, sir. Come in and sit down.
Thank you. Morning, Nazaro.
Morning, Mr. Winthrop.
What brings you all the way out here, Mr. Winthrop? If it's Star you came to see, she's in school. 8th grade.
I came to see you, January. In a way, I'm glad that Star isn't here.
Huh?
It's about her that I came to speak to you.
Well, what is it? Is it bad news?
Bad news and good. It depends on the way you look at it.
Go on.
Captain, a lady came to my house yesterday. A lady and a gentleman. Their name is Easton. They're visitors here.
Well?
They asked me a lot about Star, about where she came from and how long ago. I told them about the night you found her on the beach.
You told them?
We talked for a long time, Captain. And I told them I would bring them out here tonight. You see, they want to take Star. They want to bring her to Boston to give her a home there.
Why? Why?
Because from what they told me, I have no doubt that Star is Mrs. Easton's niece.
We were traveling most of the time, and all we heard was that my sister had been lost in a shipwreck. When we came back to America, we tried to learn more about it, but they told us that everyone had been lost. Then we came up here. When I saw the child, I almost knew then. She looked so much like my sister. And then the locket. I know she's my niece, Captain January. She's my sister's child.
And what if she is?
Captain.
What if she is, I say? What have you done for her? Did you take her out of the sea, raging like the devil's let loose, and death itself howling for the child? Did you take her from her mother's arms and swear to the Lord as helped in saving her, to do as should be done by her? Have you prayed and worked and sweated for her, and lived in fear someday she'd be taken from you? Have you?
Captain January.
I ask your pardon, ma'am.
Please believe me. I know what this means to you. And if it weren't for the child's own good, I wouldn't ask you to let me take her.
We can give her everything she wants, Captain. A home, schooling, and more important, I think we can make her happy.
For the child's own good. There's a thought, isn't it? There's something to hold on to. You say you can prove that she's your niece.
We have the passenger list from the Huntress. The mother and child were both registered.
And then there's the locket. There was a picture in it. My sister and her baby, taken when she was a year old. My sister was wearing a white dress, smiling and looking down at the child. Is that picture still there?
Yes, it's there.
I don't think there's any question that Mrs. Easton is Star's aunt, Captain.
No, there's no question.
Then you'll let us take her?
The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. It's His will, then. But I'll ask you to do it easy, for it'll be sudden-like for the girl. And she ain't used to being took sudden, my ways being slow.
We'll be very careful, Captain.
Cap, where are you? Cap,
Come in, Star, come in. This is Mrs. Easton, and this is Mr. Easton.
Hello, Star.
Hello.
You remember me, don't you?
Sure. I met you on the docks one day. You were going to buy some lobsters from me.
That's right.
Well, I guess you folks want to talk. I'll go on upstairs.
Oh, please don't go. You see, we want to talk to you.
What about?
Star, do you remember my asking about that locket you were wearing? May I see it now?
I haven't got it.
Where is it, Star?
I haven't got it.
I see.
Star, you keep the locket in the box over there, don't you? I think you'd better get it for us, Star.
Why does she want it? Why does she look at me like that?
Because this lady is your aunt, Star.
My aunt?
Your own kin, darling.
I haven't any kin. You know that. I haven't anybody except you. Tell her to go away. I don't want anybody looking at me the way she does. I don't belong to her. I belong to you.
Easy, darling. Helm, steady now.
Star, your aunt wants to take you to live with her. Through the providence of God, she's been led here to you. And she feels it's her duty to claim you in the name of your parents.
I won't go with her. I've lived here ever since I can remember. She's got no right to make me leave. I won't go, do you hear? I won't go. Cap, why don't you say something? Don't you hear them? They're trying to take me away.
They've a right to you, child.
A right to me? Is that all you have to say? Do you want me to go? Are you tired of me?
Well, honey, I'm an old man now, a very old man, and an old man likes quiet, you see, and, well, I'd be quieter myself, and so maybe it's all for the best.
You're lying to me. You never said anything like that to me before. You used to ask me all the time if I was lonesome here. All you thought about was me. And I'd tell you I'd never go away from you. And then you'd be happy. And now...
And now I tell you that I'm needing rest and quiet as suiting to an old man. I've kept you here for 9 whole years, and what thanks do I get? What thanks for all the years of work I put in to bring you up decent? Hanging on me and hanging on me. And if you want me to say it right out, then I will. I want you to go off with those folks and let me alone. Let me alone.
That's the way you feel about me?
I do.
All right, then. I'll go. I'll go and I'll never come back. Never, never.
Oh, may God forgive me for the things I said to the child. May God forgive me.
Only making believe. So, please let me stay here, Lloyd. Let me stay with Cap. They can't take me away if he won't let them. And hiding that locket wasn't really dishonest, was it? And if it was, please forgive me. Because if they had that locket, then they'd know I belong to them. And I don't. I belong here. I belong to Cap. Please, Lord. Please let me stay. Please. Please.
After a short intermission, Mr. DeMille and Shirley Temple, Charles Winninger, and Jean Lockhart will return for Act 3 of Captain January. But first, let's listen a moment. Mary and Tom have been spending the evening with Tom's new boss and his wife. They're leaving now. Mary says,
"It was a lovely party, Mrs. Allen. I enjoyed it so much."
This is what Mary is thinking.
She's a cat, even if she is the boss's wife, looking at my hands that way. I don't care if they are all red and rough from washing dishes. Tom can't afford a maid yet, and I'm glad to help him save money.
I don't blame Mary for being mad at that snooty woman, Mr. Ruick.
Neither do I, Sally. But I think we can help her.
Of course, that's where New Quick Lux comes to the rescue.
With a way to wash dishes that doesn't leave hands red and rough. You may not realize, unless you've actually used Lux Flakes for dishes, how different they are from many other soaps. We've proved that difference in the famous one-hand tests. Hundreds of women took part in these tests of 5 popular dishwashing soaps. They were made in a well-known laboratory under conditions similar to home dishwashing and were absolutely impartial for each soap. When the tests were finished, the Lux hands looked soft, smooth, and attractive. The hands which had been in other soap suds were red, rough, and coarse-looking.
Women can prove that difference right in their own homes, Mr. Ruick.
Yes, indeed. Very easily. Just try New Quick Lux Flakes for your dishes, and you'll be delighted at how soft and smooth they leave your hands. You see, there's no harmful alkali in Lux, nothing to dry your skin. It's not only fast and thrifty, because a little goes so far, it's kinder to your hands. Why not get a big box of New Quick Lux Flakes tomorrow? They come in the same familiar package and don't cost you a cent more. We pause now for station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The curtain rises on the third act of Captain January. It's dawn of the next day. On the rocky beach near the lighthouse, Captain January stands looking out at the angry sea. All night long, he's walked the path between the rocks and the lighthouse gate. His hair is rumpled by the wind, his eyes bright and feverish. From the road comes Captain Nasro to stand quietly beside him.
It's fixing up to storm.
Aye.
Last been dropping all night. They blowing a gale by evening.
Evening. They'll be coming for her then. They'll be coming for Star to take her away.
January, I've been thinking things over. I was wondering if, well, it'll be mighty lonesome here for you for a while. Now, why don't you come into the village and live with me?
Live with you?
It ain't much of a place, but it's comfortable, and the food's good.
And who'd be taking care of the light?
The light will take care of itself. You see, they're going to install automatic equipment.
What's that?
Look here. This telegram come last night. I'll let you read it yourself.
On the 30th this month, automatic equipment will be installed in lighthouses 8, 9, and 10. Inform all keepers their services will be no longer required.
I'm sorry, Captain. Of course, there'll be a pension for you.
A pension? Now, there's a fine life for an active man like myself. Living on a pension.
Easy, Captain. Easy.
Sitting in a soft chair, waiting for a check each month. Nothing to do but wait and think.
Easy, man. Easy now. Why? You're sick, January. You'd better come inside and lay down.
I'm not sick.
You're feverish, man. Come along.
No! I can look out for myself.
All right. I'll be in the village if you need me.
Cap, I've been waiting all day for you to come back. What's the matter, Cap? Aren't you going to speak to me?
There's nothing left to say.
I only want to hear one thing. You weren't telling the truth last night, were you? You really don't want me to go, do you? Please, Cap, tell me.
I'm trying to do what's best.
I know you didn't mean it. You couldn't. I don't believe you any more than you'd believe me if I said I wanted to go.
It's not a question of wanting.
Why isn't it? They can't take me if I won't go. The locket's the only thing that proves anything. And they can't find it. No one will ever find it.
There's more than the locket, Star. There's you. And the way you came here, and he... I can't explain it to you. I can't think somehow. It's all dark and misty.
You mean I gotta go with him? Is that what you mean, Cap?
Yes, Star.
But not 'cause you want me to go. You don't, do you?
Wants you to go. Would I want the sun never to rise again? Would I?
Oh, Cap. Cap.
There now. It's a fine life you'll have, darling. And I'll be coming to see you as often as they let me. Oftener, maybe. They're good people.
Cap, what if they hadn't come up here? We'd go on living just the same, wouldn't we? You wouldn't be talking of a fine life then. We'd be happy just like before, wouldn't we?
Yeah, but they did come.
Then, Cap, why did we run away?
What's that you're saying?
You were always talking about going somewhere else. Why don't we, Cap? Just you and me. We could take the sailboat. Now, before they come. We could be off down the coast where no one would know us.
Star, don't be saying such things. I can't think. I can't. I tell you, I can't think.
Put the food in the boat. We could sail for days and days.
Oh, they'd find us. They'd bring us back.
No, they wouldn't. Please, Cap. We'll be too late if we don't hurry. I'll get the boat ready now. We'll be gone before dark.
It's the wrong thing, Star. It's wrong.
It isn't wrong. And we're going. Do you hear, Cap? We're going. Is everything aboard, Cap?
All set. Get in the boat.
Wait. I forgot about Imogene. I'll turn her loose and be right back.
Hurry, Star.
Henry! What are you doing down here?
Out of my way. I'm busy.
You're going to take this boat out in a sea like this?
I can handle any boat in any kind of sea.
Where are you going?
I'm taking Star away down the coast.
Don't be a fool. You can't do that, man. You're sick.
Sick, am I?
You're raging with the fever right now, or you'd never be thinking of such a thing.
Get out of my way, I tell you.
I won't. You're not leaving with that child if I have to knock you down and sit on you. Now get off this boat. Get off!
You know, Nazareth, you and me have had a lot of fights. But I always thought that down deep you were my friend.
I am your friend.
My friend, you'd let them come here and take Star from me, and you call yourself my friend.
January, it's for the best. January, come up to the lighthouse.
Let me go, or I'll brain you.
Are you crazy, man? Stop it.
Let him go.
Stop it.
What are you doing to him? Let him alone.
Star, you're not leaving here tonight.
We are. We're running away.
And no one's going to stop us. You or anybody.
Star, he's not himself. Can't you see it? The man's raving mad. He's a sick man, Star.
Sick?
Would he be taking a boat out tonight if he knew what he was doing?
Let me go. Any boat. In any sea. We're ready, Star. We're ready. We're...
What's the matter? Help!
Star. Go get the doctor. Quick.
Is that all you can tell us, Doctor?
That's all, Mrs. Easton. He may pull through, and then again, well, he's a very sick man.
What about the little girl? I mean, her staying here. We don't want to take her away if it will have bad effects.
It can't have. He's barely conscious now, and it might be just as well if she weren't here. I've already told her that she's to go with you.
You'll keep us informed, won't you, Doctor?
Of course.
Shall we go, Laura? Where is Star?
I've allowed her to see him for a moment. She'll be right down.
Goodbye, Cap. I wouldn't be leaving now, only the doctor says I ought to. But when you wake up, I'm going to try to be back. And don't forget, you're going to come and see me whenever they'll let you, and maybe oftener. And when you're not there, I'm going to be thinking of you, Cap. I'm going to be thinking of you all the time.
Star, dear.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Star, I've been looking all over for you. Uncle Bruce will be back from New York soon. He'll want to see you.
Yes, ma'am.
Star, what's the matter?
Nothing.
Aren't you happy here, Star?
You've been wonderful to me, Aunt Laura. I've never had such beautiful clothes and things.
But that's not enough, is it?
Oh, I don't mean it like that. I've had everything here. You and Uncle Bruce, why, you've been wonderful. You even took this beach house on account of me, thinking it might make me feel better. And, well, it does, too, only...
Star, dear, You don't have to explain it to me. I know how you feel.
Have you heard anything from Cap lately?
Just that he's a lot better. You've been writing to him every day, haven't you?
Yes. He'd answer, too, but, well, you know Cap. He isn't so strong on spelling. Aunt Laura, now that he's feeling better, do you suppose we could go and see him sometime?
Well, we'll have to wait and see if... Oh, there's Uncle Bruce. Come on, darling. He has a surprise for you.
Hello, Laura. Well, Star.
Hello, Uncle Bruce.
Did you bring it, Bruce?
I certainly did. Here, Star. Look out the window, down by the dock.
Why, it's a boat.
Like it?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's almost a yacht, isn't it?
Pretty nearly. Come on down and take a look at it.
Did you sail that from New York, Uncle Bruce?
All the way. Started last night.
It's awful big, isn't it?
Don't argue with me, you old rattlebrain. I've sailed tubs in every sea that was ever charted.
Why, it's Cap! Cap!
Star, me darling.
Oh, Cap, I thought you'd forgotten.
Forgotten you. Would I forget the North from the South, would I?
How did you get here? What are you doing?
I'm captain of this craft. That's what I'm doing.
And I'm the first mate.
Captain Nasro.
He's the second mate.
I said first mate.
Second.
The first.
Second.
First.
Second.
Oh, gee. But it's wonderful to see you fellers on good terms
In just a moment, Mr. DeMille will bring back our stars for a curtain call. But first, I promised Sally that she could say something to you about the Lux Flakes Gone with the Wind brooch.
I want to tell our audience that I've been wearing this beautiful pin, and I've gotten more compliments on it. People think it's a family heirloom, and an expensive one at that because of its lovely simulated turquoise and pearls, and its fine-looking antique-style gold finish. It's round and big, too, almost 2 inches wide. It dresses up a simple daytime dress, and it's perfect for afternoon and evening wear, too. It's stunning pinned on one of those plain fabric handbags or at the front of a turban. And something else we women appreciate. It has a safety clasp so it won't drop off and get lost. Oh, but I'm sure you want to know how to get this gorgeous brooch. Mr. Ruick will tell you.
Well, first, buy a big box of Lux Flakes. You'll want these for all sorts of things. Stockings, underthings, sweaters, other nice things. And for your dishes, too. Remember, new Quick Lux is fast, thrifty, safe. Then tear off the opening tab of the box and mail it with 15 cents in coin. Please don't send stamps. To Lux, Box 1, New York City. Lux, Box 1, New York City. Be sure to include your name and address, of course. You'll get your lovely Gone with the Wind brooch very soon. And with it comes an illustrated order blank for matching pieces, bracelet, earrings, and so on. All amazing bargains. Now, don't delay, because this Gone with the Wind brooch offer is strictly limited, and we know how popular these stunning brooches will be. Remember, send your name and address, 15 cents in coin, and the opening tab from a large box of new Quick Lux Flakes to Lux, Box 1, New York City. This offer is good only in the United States. Now, here's Mr. DeMille with our stars.
Now Shirley Temple returns to the microphone, flanked by those two attentive seafaring gentlemen, Charles Wenninger and Jean Lockhart.
I guess I'm pretty lucky to have 2 escorts like this.
It's an honor, Miss Temple. Ma'am.
My sentiments exactly, ma'am.
My goodness, gentlemen, don't be so formal. We all work here.
And you all work well, too.
How are things going in school, Shirley?
Fine, Mr. Wenninger. Say, you know, I just found out that you learn a lot of things in school that you might use sometime, instead of just keeping them in your head.
I was a lot older than you, Shirley, before I discovered that. How did you find it out?
One thing I learned in school was how to write letters. So now that my brother's gone away with the Marines, I can write and tell him how we all are here at home.
And I'll bet he's glad to get those letters. Where'd he go?
He went to Hawaii. And I think he's going to be there for a whole year.
Well, Shirley, the next time you write, wish him good luck from all of us.
And that's a wish we send to all those young men now serving these United States.
Yes, sir. I'll tell my brother. Say, Mr. DeMille, would you tell me what play you're going to have next week?
I'll tell everybody, Shirley. Next Monday night, we're going to present Rebecca. And our stars will be Ronald Colman, Joan Fontaine, and Judith Anderson. And as a special guest, we'll have the producer of the picture, David O. Selznick. The novel was talked about around the world, and Mr. Selznick's fine motion picture was selected as the leading film of the year in the Film Daily poll of 546 motion picture critics. It's a great love story and a great drama. So tense and exciting, it held audiences right on the edge of their chairs. Next week, Rebecca promises to give this stage one of its most brilliant evenings.
I certainly agree with you there, CB, and I'll be listening. Well, I guess it's time to go home now, Shirley. Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, Charlie. Jane. I wish I had your future, Shirley. Our sponsors, the makers of Lux Flakes, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday night when the Lux Radio Theater presents Ronald Colman, Joan Fontaine, and Judith Anderson in Rebecca. This is Cecil B. DeMille saying good night to you from Hollywood.
Shirley Temple will soon begin a picture at Metro Goldwyn Mayer Studios. Charles Wenninger will be seen in the forthcoming MGM picture, Ziegfeld Girl. Gene Lockhart will be seen in the Warner Brothers production, The Seawolf. Heard in tonight's play were Dwayne Thompson as Mrs. Easton, Verna Felton as Mrs. Morgan, Griff Barnett as Mr. Winthrop, Bobby Winkler as Gerald, Earl Ross as Mr. Easton, Lou Merrill as Judge Hardrow, Charles Seal as storekeeper, and Bob Burleson as doctor. This broadcast was made with the permission of L.C. Page and Company, publisher and copyright owners of Laura Richards' novel, Captain January. The brooch, offered you by the makers of Lux Flakes, was designed from one worn in Gone with the Wind, the Selznick International picture, produced by David O. Selznick and released by Metro Goldwyn Mayer. Our music is directed by Louis Silvers, and your announcer has been Melville Ruick. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Spam! Oh boy! Spam! What joy! George Burns, Gracie Allen, on the show with his orchestra, for singing glee with a smooth East Street. Last but not least, with Bud Heaston.
Phone your Aunt Matilda. Tell them it's time for Burns and Allen. And when you want to fill the chairs around your table in double quick time, tell the family there's baked Spam for dinner. Spam, S-P-A-M, is tender, delicious, easy-to-serve meat. Originated by Hormel, Spam has a flavor and a quality all its own. There's nothing quite like it. Nothing that tops its flavor because Spam is sweet, juicy pork shoulder meat combined with tender, tasty ham. So give your family baked Spam. Just open the can, take out the meat, and bake for a few minutes. The easy directions are right on the label, along with other recipes for serving Spam cold or hot. Millions of families have found Spam delicious meat that's economical and easy to use. Ask your food dealer for S-P-A-M Spam when you shop tomorrow. And now for Spam's Meatheart, Gracie Allen and George Mink Coat Burns.
Thank you. And, Bud, you can stop being such a comic, and that goes for everybody here. I don't want to hear any more about the mink coat I gave away last week.
All right, let's stop talking about it.
Good.
You mean the one you gave Cabina Wright Jr.?
Yes, and I don't want to talk about it.
About what?
The mink coat I gave Cabina Wright Jr.
And why do you keep bringing it up?
I didn't bring it up. You're to blame for the whole thing. I didn't expect it to accept the coat. I merely wanted to think that I was a big shot, and what happened? You had to talk her into it.
Oh, well, that's all right, George. You can do something for me sometime.
Gracie, you don't understand. Did anybody ever invite you out to dinner knowing that you couldn't accept?
Saturday night.
Good.
The food was delicious.
No, did any fella ever say to you, Gracie, let's go out on the balcony and look at the moon, knowing all the time that there was no moon?
Yeah, some smart aleck tried that on me once, and boy, did I fall.
No moon, huh?
No balcony.
Well, whether you understand it or not, that was a $5,000 coat, and I've got to get it back.
George, there's no use crying over spilt mink.
Spilt mink?
Yeah.
That's right, George. Cabina Wright Jr. was nice enough to invite us all to her party tonight. If you're going to mope about losing $5,000, you're going to spoil our whole evening.
Spoil your whole evening?
Well, George always does that. Just 2 weeks ago, we were invited to a lawn party, and George was the only one who came without a lawnmower. And
Gracie, just a minute. That's another thing I just as soon forget.
Going into a swimming pool with a tuxedo on.
Going in? I was pushed in.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I did it.
You did it?
Yeah, you aren't even a good sport, staying at the bottom of the pool sulking.
Sulking? I was drowning.
Well, that's even worse. Why show off? Nobody else was doing it.
Gracie, I can't swim.
So what? Why stay at the bottom of the pool? That's nothing to be ashamed at.
Ashamed at?
Yeah, opposite.
Oh, I see what I told you I didn't want to talk about it.
And that language you used down there was shocking.
Gracie, I was at the bottom of the pool. How could you hear what I was saying?
I'm a bubble reader.
Well, this on top of that $5,000 mink coat certainly puts me in a great mood for Cabina Wright's party tonight.
Oh, gee, I can't wait to get there, George. Is Cabina Wright's mother really a leader of the 400?
That's right, Bud.
Well, just think. A real society party. I wonder if it'll be as exciting as it looks in the magazine ads.
Oh, yeah, society is more fun than any place.
Yes. What?
Well, imagine eating with real community plate silver.
But right now I'm thinking of something much more important. A certain young lady is wearing it, and it amounts to a neat little figure.
Well, thanks, George, and I didn't even think you noticed my dress.
Your dress?
And imagine eating Spam between a Vanderbilt and an Astor.
Well, it's also good between rye bread and a pickle.
It's nice, spicy stuff.
Yeah.
Look, you're all talking about parties and clothes. Nobody is interested in the mess I'm in.
I am, George. Of course, the sleeves are too long, but then again, the pants are too short.
But outside of that, I look fine.
Yeah. Now, if you can get somebody just to press it, it'll only bag at the knees. And I always say...
Never mind. What
Hello,
you always
George.
say.
Hiya, George. How's the old fur trapper?
Fur trapper?
Yep. Every time you open your trap, you lose a fur.
Look, Frenessy, what should I have given her, a clarinet?
George, were you afraid you'd lose Cabina if you didn't give her a mink coat?
Leave Cabina out of this. I've got lots of girls, and I can keep my women.
Well, I've seen them, brother, and you ain't kidding.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Artie Shaw's band laughing at Artie Shaw's joke. As arranged by Lenny Hayden.
Say, Artie, at Cabina's party tonight, how many dances are you going to have with me?
Well, gee, Gracie, I'm afraid your program will be full.
Oh, well, I never eat so much that I can't dance.
Artie, make up your mind. Are you going to dance or not?
Oh, please, George, I asked him first.
I'm asking for you.
Well, it won't do you any good because I'm dancing with Artie.
Oh, please.
What about it, Artie?
Well, I'd like to, Gracie, but I've got a sore heel.
Well, she can dance with George.
Gracie, don't let him fall flush.
No, I won't. We'll two-step.
Yeah, that's not half the dance the fall flush is.
Bueno, ¿y a mí por qué no me invitaron a la fiesta? ¿Qué no cuento yo aquí o qué pasa, hombre? Yo también sé
We're
de
back
esas
in
cosas,
Mexico
¿verdad?
again. That's the guitar player. What is it, Senor Lee?
I wasn't invited to the party tonight, and I'm an insult.
Well, that's an outrage. Senor Lee, if I were you and didn't get an invitation, I wouldn't accept it.
Am I hearing right?
Don't worry. I'll get in by Hickory Creek.
You mean you'll get in by hook or crook?
You get in your way, and I'll get in my way.
Well, look, Senor Lee, do what I do. I've got a great system for getting into parties. I go to the door, and I ring the bell, and I say to the butler, I want to see somebody inside. And he says, who? And I say, me.
But, Gracie, that system could never work.
I know, but that's the only thing wrong with it.
Yes, do that, senor.
I know how to get in. I'll disguise myself as a foreigner.
A foreigner?
Si, senor. I'll make out I'm a duke.
A duke?
Si.
What does a duke say?
Quack, quack, quack.
What a duke says. Well, I've had enough. I'm only interested in one thing. I want to get back my mink coat.
Well, if you want to get it back, why don't you get to the party? You just ask Kobina a riddle.
Want to start that again?
Oh, you don't hear very well, huh?
Well, let's see. What did you say?
I said, if you want to get it back, when you get to the party, just ask Kobina a riddle.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
A riddle?
Yeah. You say, Kobina, what's the difference between a mink coat and a cup of coffee?
Yes.
And she'll say, I don't know. As long as she doesn't know, you give her a cup of coffee and take the mink coat. So very simple.
Now the Smoothies, Babs, Charlie, and Little will sing Sweet and Low.
Sweet and low, sweet and low, wind of the western sea. Low, low, breeze and blow, wind of the western sea. Over the rolling waters go, come from the dying moon and blow him again to me. While my little one, while my pretty one sleeps. Low, low, rocked by my pretty baby, listen to my lullaby. Sleep and rest, oh, Father will come to thee soon, here by the light of the moon. Blow, blow, breeze, why don't you blow? Wind of the western sea. Over the rolling waters go, come from the dying moon and blow him again to me, to me, to me. While my little one, while my pretty one sleep, while baby sleep.
Well, when we get to the party, I'm going to get that mink coat back. I'll just tell her the truth. Well, come on, everybody, let's go. Where's Gracie?
Oh, well, right there, George. Oh, isn't this a scream? Look what my brother Willie says in his letter.
We haven't got time to listen to your brother Willie's letter.
Oh, he's in the army, you know.
I know he's in the army, but we're on our way to a party.
Oh,
see.
good. Well, then I'll read the letter at the party.
All right, read it at the party.
Yeah, I will.
Yes.
Dear Gracie.
Look, Gracie, we haven't got time.
Well, it won't take long. Willie writes very fast.
Oh, fast writer.
Yes. Dear Gracie.
Writes a very quick hand.
Yes. Dear Gracie, period, comma, question mark, exclamation point, hyphen, apostrophe, semicolon, colon, dash.
Well, what's all that for?
Well, Willie doesn't know how to punctuate, so he puts it all at the top, and then I fit it in where it belongs. Dear Gracie.
That's a very smart letter. Well, look, Gracie, let's get to the party.
Dear Gracie, you notice that I'm not at Fort Rosencrantz anymore. Lieutenant Ward transferred me to Camp Ord because it's easier to spell.
Well, that's nice.
And yesterday...
Ord is easier than Rosencrantz.
And yesterday, during a sham battle, I captured a light armored tank.
Yes.
And it bit off 2 of my fingers before I discovered it was a snapping turtle.
Gracie, your brother must be a first-class dope.
He is. But he'd rather be a cough.
I see what you mean, yes.
Gracie, I don't want to offend Bessie, but ask her to stop sending me those chocolate-covered mothballs.
Just a second. Your sister Bessie sent him chocolate-covered mothballs?
Yeah, isn't that silly? And she knows he likes them covered with caramel.
Oh, yes.
And Gracie, I've been eating a lot of macaroni and donuts, and it gave me asthma and hiccups, so I was transferred to the Fife and Drum Corps. Signed, Willie.
Look, I'm glad it's over. Come on, everybody. Let's get to the party.
Here.
Oh, some more.
By the way, Gracie, I sent you the top sergeant's right shoe. Will you have Daddy try it on for size before I send you the other one?
Is the letter finished now?
Yes.
Well, let's get started.
Yeah, gee, I hope we have a nice time at the party. I hope those society people don't rich us and give us the pork shoulder.
Look, Bud, don't be so self-conscious. I wasn't invited until the last minute.
Yeah, the ham meat was added.
All right, wise guy. Just stick to those ribs.
Well, now, come on, boys. Let's go. See, who'll I go with? Bud, have you got a car?
No? Gracie, I've got a car.
Artie, have you got a car?
Nope.
Gracie, I've got a car.
Well, come on, boys. We walk.
Well, let's go, everybody. Goodbye, Senor Lee.
Oh, you'll see me. I'll be there. I'll get in by Hickory Creek.
Oh, yes, you will.
I'll disguise myself like Dr. Kildare. They'll open the door and say, "Hiya, Doc."
And what will the doc say?
Quack, quack, quack.
Okay, I'll see you there by Hickory Creek. Come on. Well, wait a minute. There's somebody at the door. Come in.
Mr. Burns, remember me. I'm Mr. Randall, the Fourier. I let you have that Mink coat on approval last week. You wanted it for 5 days, and it's now 7, so I thought I'd drop in either for the check or for the coat.
Well, I'm sorry. Mr. Burns isn't here, are you, Judge?
Quiet. Mr. Randall, will you just give me a few more days?
Gladly.
Well, I don't think George will need a few days. With the system I've got, he'll be able to get the coat back tonight, even if he has to steal it.
What did you say?
Steal it.
Steal it!
Now, Randall, don't get excited.
Don't get excited. I've got a right to get excited. You got $5,000 worth of fur off of me.
Oh, I know. What did he use, an electric razor?
Randall, I'm not going to steal your coat.
No, Mr. Randall, George doesn't have to steal coats.
No.
No, he just gets them on approval and doesn't pay for them, like a gentleman.
Look, Artie, stop helping me.
Yeah, Artie, if George wants someone to talk like a numbskull, he can do it himself.
Look, Mr. Randall, will you wait here? I'm going to a party at Sabina Wright's, and I'll get the mink coat and bring it right back.
Well, all right.
Now, well, you don't have to worry, Mr. Randall. You'll get that coat, and we have to bring it back a sleeve at a time.
A sleeve at a time?
Yes.
Mr. Burns, I'm going to that party with you. I'm not taking any chances.
Well, Gracie, you've got things balled up nicely.
Oh, it was nothing, George. You could have done the same thing yourself if you tried.
Oh, will you stop?
Hey, Senor Burns, if this man goes to the party, then I can go too. I'm a furrier.
You're a furrier?
Sure, I'm a furrier. I haven't even taken out my first papers.
Oh, furrier, I see what you mean, yes.
But don't worry, I'll get in by Hickory Creek.
Trick, I know. Randall, I can't take you to this party. How can I take a furrier to a society party?
Well...
You give up?
Well...
Oh, I know a way.
I thought so.
We'll introduce him as Reginald Worthington Schuyler Bullock IV.
Look, that's too long a name, and it sounds exaggerated.
Well, then we'll call him Reginald Worthington Schuyler Bullock III.
Well, that's much better and much, much shorter.
Now, Artie Shaw, his clarinet and his boys will play Old Rockin' Chair. Spam Show. Bud Easton speaking.
Oh, hello. This is the chef at the home of Madame Copino Wright. Is Monsieur George Burns available for the conversation?
Well, no, not just now.
Well, the butler have just informed me of a party.
Oh, yes. I'm coming over right away, and the rest of them are on their way.
Oh, c'est impossible. Je rien préparé. What will I do? I do not know how to serve on so short notice.
Oh, boy, what an opening you left.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Well, you want to serve a really scrumptious meal and do it quickly?
Oh, oui.
Then give us Spam.
What? Spam?
That's right. S-P-A-M. Spam. Now, listen. Just send the third assistant keeper of the pantry right over to the grocery store, get some cans of Spam. And get plenty, because Spam is a meat that keeps without refrigeration, Cheffy, old boy. Now, here's the way you prepare baked Spam. First, open a can of Spam.
Do I open it?
Yes, that's very important. Then take a handful of cloves and stud the top of the meat with them. That's right. Then put the Spam in a shallow baking dish. Now, pop it into the oven and bake it. There's a swell brown sugar sauce described on the label of the can if you want to baste it with a dressing. And there's your main course, done in a jiffy. And your guests will love it. Spam is tender, juicy meat because it's a perfect blend of pork shoulder meat with ham meat added. And when you take it out of the oven, Chef, you can be sure that you have a pièce de résistance, a main course that is so delicious, so taste-tempting, so ooh-la-la that your party is bound to be a success. So take my advice and prepare a Spam bake tonight.
Ah, Monsieur Histon, you are magnifique. Voila, it shall be done.
Voici, we'll be right over.
Slice it, dice it, fry it, bake it, cold or hot, Spam hits the spot.
Thanks. George, I'm having a wonderful time at this party. This gentleman here is a wonderful dancer. And we must have the next dance, too.
I'd love to, madam, but I've got to go back and polish the silverware.
Gracie, that man is the butler.
The butler?
Did you notice he was carrying a load of drinks?
Well, you could never tell, and he danced like he was perfectly sober.
Well, quiet. Here comes Cabina.
Now, don't forget, George. Just get her alone and tell her the truth. It's bound to work.
It had better work.
Relax, Furry. Don't forget your name is Bullock. No, I'll get her outside alone.
Oh, there you are. You all having a nice time?
Hang time, Cabina.
George, is there anything I can get you?
Yeah, mink coat.
Quiet. Cabina, could I see you alone for
Oh,
a
gee,
minute?
I've never been to such a swell party.
Thanks, Gracie.
See, who's that attractive-looking girl over there with the freckles?
Oh, that's Elizabeth Brown. Her father has millions.
Oh, yeah, he ought to carry a parasol.
Cabina, could I see you alone?
Cabina, is there any way of brushing off that silly dame who's been chasing me? There she is over there.
Mr. Shaw, that happens to be my aunt.
Oh, well, I didn't mean her. I mean the fat one next to her with the bobbed hair.
That's my uncle.
Boy, can he dance.
Cabina, could I see you alone
Hey,
for a
Cabina,
minute?
who's that tall, good-looking fellow standing over there examining the silverware? Oh, it's Bud Easton. You're Bud.
Hey, Gracie, it's real community plate.
Is it?
Gracie, you've tried Spam with eggs, haven't you?
Oh, yes, and it's delicious.
Well, try it with real silverware. It's wonderful.
Really?
Look, it isn't polite to yell, Bud.
What?
It isn't polite to yell.
What?
Hey, it ain't polite to yell.
Who was that?
My mother.
Cabina, could I see
Come
you
here, Mother.
alone?
I want you to meet some of my friends. This is George Burns.
Oh, well, how do you do?
George Burns? Why, Cabina, you're wrong. Doesn't look so old.
Old?
Mother, this is Miss Allen.
How do you do, Miss Allen?
You're Miss Allen.
Then who am I?
Mrs. Wright, you'll have to excuse Gracie. She's pretty silly.
Oh, that's nothing. I'm even pretty when I'm not silly.
Well, that's what I mean.
And Mother, this is Artie Shaw.
How do you do?
Hello.
And this is Bud Easton.
How do you do?
Hello.
And this is a friend of George's. He's a polo player. I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name.
So have I.
Mrs. Wright, he's Mr. Bullock. You know the Bullocks.
Oh, the Bullock family. Oh, certainly. What branch are you?
7th and Broadway.
Well, anyway, it's really a pleasure to be here, Mrs. Wright.
And Mr. Burns, I want to thank you for that adorable little coat you gave Cabina. Do you know it looked like real mink?
It looks like real mink. Do you know how long it takes to make a coat like that?
Bullock.
Do you know that this girl has one of the best skins in Hollywood?
Well, maybe she uses mud packs.
George, why is this Mr. Bullock so interested in my fur coat?
Well, you see, Cabina, he's sort of a collector of furs.
You mean he collects minks?
Either that or the $5,000.
Look, Cabina, could I see you alone for...
Right.
What is it, Jenkins?
There's a very dear friend of Mr. Burns waiting to see him in the library.
What's his name?
I don't know, sir.
What did he say?
Quack, quack, quack.
That's Senor Lee, our guitar player. Mrs. Wright, could you please ask him to go?
I'll see to it right away.
Well, thank you. Cabina, could I see you out in the garden alone?
Why, certainly, George.
Miss Wright, here's your mink coat you rang for.
I didn't ring for it.
Well, somebody did.
Who wants to talk about my brother?
Well, Cabina, would you like to have me take it upstairs?
No, I'll wear it out in the garden.
Oh, you are going to wear it out in the garden?
Yes, Mr. Bullock.
May I slip these mothballs in the pocket?
Mothballs? I thought he was a polo player.
Well, he is. You see, he plays miniature polo. He uses a very small mallet.
Say, George, you better get that coat back before the styles change.
Well, just leave it to me.
Cabina, dear,
Yes, Mother?
take care of our guests and see that they have a good time. I'm going out.
Why, Mother, you look wonderful with all your jewels on.
Yeah, you're prettier than Hollywood Boulevard.
Quiet.
Mother, who are you going out with, Frank Vanderlip or Gregory Thorndyke?
Neither one.
Well, then with whom?
Quack, quack, quack.
Cabina, could I see you outside?
George, what's on your mind tonight? Something seems to be troubling you.
Well, sure there's something on his mind. How would you like it if your best friend was a polo player named Bullock and his name turned out to be Randall?
Gracie.
If a thing like that happened to you, Cabina, you'd jump out of your skin. And if you did, I bet George would grab it and Randall would grab George.
Oh, quiet. Look, Cabina, last week you said a nice girl shouldn't accept a coat from a fellow she just met. And I agree with you.
You're so sweet to admit it, George, that I'm going to keep it.
Oh.
Oh, look, Gracie. George fainted. How can we revive him?
Well, just throw a mink coat in his face.
Don't forget to put Spam on your shopping list tomorrow. Originated by Hormel, Spam is absolutely the most popular new meat item brought out in a generation. A perfect combination of pork shoulder and ham, this delicious meat in a handy can has become a mealtime mainstay in millions of homes. If you haven't yet tried Spam, do so tomorrow. You're really missing something extra good because cold or hot, Spam really hits the spot. Ask your food dealer for Spam.
Ladies and gentlemen... Oh, Gracie, say goodnight.
Well, good night.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we leave tonight, and our next broadcast will come from Chicago.
George, you can't leave yet.
Why not? I gave the man the checks for the trunks. I gave him the check for the suitcase.
Yeah, but you forgot to give the man the check for the fur coat, if you know what I mean.
Oh, good night. Good night.
Join us again next week, same time, same station, for another Burns and Allen show with Artie Shaw and his orchestra and the Smoothies. This is Bud Easton speaking for Hormel and Spam, reminding you to remember that cold or hot, Spam hits the spot. Have you tried Hormel Chili Con Carne? Even those who think they don't like chili do like chili con carne the way Hormel makes it because it's different and everybody likes it. Double your money back if you don't like it. Try Hormel chili con carne tomorrow. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
If you measured out 150 miles of string, tied it to a steamer smokestack at the head of the falls of the Ohio in Louisville, and then walked with its far end, the strings we mean, in a complete circle, you'd set up the boundaries of the most basketball-mad section of the entire United States. And in more recent years, the bluegrass of Kentucky has embraced no small share of that court insanity. For that reason, we've turned our transcription facilities tonight over to Jimmy Jones, veteran cage observer of the Louisville Courier-Journal, who has watched Southern, Southeastern, and Midwestern basketball for, these many winters now, and asked him to do a little fact-finding for us. This season, Jimmy has watched every Kentucky college team play at least once, so it ought not be hard for him to answer a question like this. Jimmy, would you compare Kentucky basketball in general with that played in the state last year, and the brand you've observed in other sections of the country?
Well, George, you must remember that this is only my second season as an observer in Kentucky, particularly the league known as the KIAC. But I would say the brand of basketball now being played throughout the state by Kentucky colleges is somewhat superior to that of any state in the Deep South and rapidly becoming on a par with that of the Midwest. I am sure, after watching approximately a half a dozen games, that Kentucky teams are playing even better ball than they played last year.
Of course, Indiana is generally accepted as the number one basketball state of the nation. Would you say Kentucky is beginning to gain on the Hoosiers and other states of the Midwest?
Well, George, I appreciate your observation there. That is something that may be debated by our good Indiana friends. But my personal belief is that Kentucky collegiate basketball already has surpassed that of all its sister states, excepting Indiana and possibly Ohio. But looking at the records alone, as our good friend Al Smith would say, I am of the opinion that soon we will be definitely on a par with those states. I think the close games University of Kentucky has played with Indiana and Notre Dame, unquestionably the two top teams in Hoosier land, clearly would indicate that. I saw the Sugar Bowl game at New Orleans, and Kentucky, with what Adolph Rupp admits is not one of his best teams, gave a fairly good account of itself against what many consider the greatest college basketball club in the country. Of course, the styles are somewhat different. Our boys don't go in for the fire department stuff as much as the Hoosiers do, but may give a little more attention to defense, which I think is a little more rugged than the Indiana defense. Then, of course, basketball is a game of varying styles and various sections, although it is showing more of a tendency to standardization owing to the new rule changes aimed at speeding up the offense. Another factor in basketball's improvement in Kentucky is a tremendous improvement of high school ball made possible by the regional and sectional tournaments, improved coaching, and last, but certainly not least, the tremendous increase in adequate gymnasium facilities made possible by the government's building program. I interviewed the players on the Little Hazel Green team following their victory in the state high school tournament at Lexington last year, and nearly all gave credit to their new gym recently built at a cost of $80,000. You can thank Mr. Roosevelt, they told me.
What are the 1941 trends? Is offense being stressed as much in Kentucky as in other states?
Of course, George. When the bigwigs put the 10-second rule for clearing the ball from the back court and the 3-second limitation within the foul lanes, those rules naturally speeded up the game everywhere. Then the center jump, excepting to start the halves, was abolished, the ball being given to the opposing team out of bounds following a field goal. All this was a boon to the offense, and has virtually meant the end of zone defenses. The tendency this year has been to put even more emphasis on the fast break, with more emphasis also on individual play than set plays. Players who can shoot from well out are being given a chance to do so. The teams just don't have time to get the men in position to maneuver as much as they used to, and the pivot play has been curtailed greatly by the zone limitations. With more emphasis being placed on individual play, the trend in defenses has been to a shifting man-to-man, or the so-called check-off system, rather than to set defenses. In other words, playing the man instead of the ball.
Now about some of the other teams in Kentucky besides the university and the players who make up those teams. How would you rank those teams?
College basketball in Kentucky, excepting the university, is restricted to the organization we call the KIAC, or rather the Kentucky Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. There are 11 teams in this group, the 4 state teachers' colleges, Western, Eastern, Murray, and Moorhead, and the independent group composed of Center, Georgetown, Transylvania, Kentucky Wesleyan, Berea, Union, and University of Louisville. Of this group, I would say that Western, coached by Ed Diddle, is perennially the best team. The Hilltoppers from Bowling Green have won 12 games out of 13 thus far this season and have what many supporters believe to be their best team in history. Western, by the way, recently demonstrated the high caliber of basketball played in the KIAC by beating Mississippi State of the Southeastern Conference 63-47 and defeating the powerful Evansville College outfit, rated best of the Indiana Dependents, 56-52 in an overtime game. I would say that Western easily ranks on an annual par with the best teams in Indiana. Proof of that fact was that last year, Western represented Kentucky in the NCAA eliminations in Indianapolis and lost to Duquesne, Eastern champions, by 1 point. I rate this year's Western team even better. Next to Western, I would say that Murray is the best KIAC 5. Carlisle Cutchin has a good team every year and always gives Western a good scrap. Eastern, Moorhead, Georgetown, and Berea are just about a toss-up for the 3rd spot.
Now about some of the individual players on these teams. How about spotlighting some of them for us?
Well, George, as far as I'm personally concerned, I think that Western's All-American center, Carlisle Towery, is by far the greatest individual player in Kentucky. For that matter, he may be the greatest all-around player in the South, since no team seems able to guard him effectively. He made 26 points against Mississippi State and played only 5 minutes of the second half. Against Evansville, he bagged 10 field goals and a free throw for 21 points. Many critics rate him among the greatest players in America. A national magazine recently nominated him as an All-American possibility for 1941. He made Chuck Taylor's selection last year. Callahan, Westland forward, Haynes, Cupp, and Stephens of Murray, Schuster and Perry of Easton, Rudy, Burr, and Benson of Georgetown, King of U of L, Duncan and Hamilton of Moorhead, and Green of Berea are other fine players. University of Kentucky, of course, is in a different league. Of that team, I like the sophomores, Milt Tico, England, and Brewer best, and of the older players, Lee Huber, the Louisville boy. He seems to be as good as ever this year. But I've seen better Kentucky teams than this one. The best rep coach team I thought was that of 1932, which I saw win the Southeastern Conference in Atlanta.
How do you account for the perennial success of this Western team, not only in Kentucky, but in its league, the SIAA?
The first secret of Western success, I believe, George, is its coaching system. Ed Diddle is not only a foxy fellow himself, but he has 2 fine assistants in Ted Hornback and Ed Stansbury. These boys played under Diddle, and they know his system from A to Z. They sit on the bench with him and help him spot weaknesses of the opposition and their own team. The Western coaches are very popular with their players, and their squads always have a high morale and competitive spirit. Diddle himself is something of a genius at getting the most out of his boys. As for his system, I would say that it is somewhat unique in that his players always try to maneuver the ball to the player, not necessarily in the best strategic position to shoot, but into the position that player likes to shoot from best. For example, Shelton shoots best from the side at about a 45-degree angle, I would say. He shoots overhanded and is deadly from this angle. Towery's specialty is a jump half-pivot shot, but he is also very fine on follow-up shots. Downing shoots from well out, often near the center of the court. Diddle believes in letting each individual player shoot his favorite shot, and he develops this feeling to a high intensity. Thus, plus fine pass work and team spirit, you have an idea of the Diddle system.
Do you have any predictions concerning the KIAC and Southeastern tournaments, which fall on the same dates, late in February and early in March?
Well, George, I like Western to repeat in the KIAC at Richmond and the SIAA, which will be held later at Bowling Green, with most of its competition coming from Murray. That would be winning the KIAC tournament for the 10th consecutive time by Ed Diddle, and something of a feat. But I believe that he will do it. Kentucky, I understand, has a team that is improving all the time, and by late February, the Rupp boys ought to be capable of repeating in the Southeastern here in Louisville. Anyway, I certainly hope so.
Well, thank you, Jimmy Jones, for doing this, looking them over for us.
Well, that's the way it was on January 27th, 1941. I'm Henry Chop, your host. I'll tell you what we have coming up tomorrow night in just 1 minute. If you expand the description section to this video, you will not only see all the programs listed, you will see a link. That link brings you over to our other channel, the World War II newspaper channel, where you can hear the news read to you out of the Chicago Tribune. A lot of the news stories are really interesting, especially when you hear what was going on in the battle zones of the world at this time, as we are counting down the United States entry into World War II. I try to do about 3 uploads a week on that channel. I don't always hit the mark, and sometimes I do extras. So every video takes a lot more time to put together on that channel, so I can't upload as frequently as I do here. And also like us on Facebook, the World War II News and Old Time Radio channels on YouTube over on Facebook. So check us out over there. I just share articles and things from the years roughly 1938 to 1945. Anything that has to do with World War II, I share over there. And also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon if you want to know when the programs are going to premiere. I do apologize for not having... I was having computer issues yesterday, so I did not get yesterday's program up at 8 p.m. like I usually do. It aired a little bit later, but we did get it out, so that's a good thing. Let me tell you what we have coming up tomorrow. Well, we don't have a whole heck of a lot. We only have 2 programs totaling about 45 minutes. We have Jack Armstrong, of course, and the Bob Hope Show. Now, I could not get a complete Fibber, McGee, and Molly program, so I am just not going to share it. I only have the first half of it, of that Fibber, McGee, and Molly program, so you wouldn't get the conclusion, so I decided I'd drop that program. So we're only going to have 45 minutes of old-time radio representing Tuesday the 28th, but we do get a look at Bob Hope for the first time this year, so that'll be a kind of a fun thing. Bob does a lot of topical humor, which is kind of a cool thing. So if you listen to the newspaper channel, you might understand some of the jokes that you will not understand otherwise on the Bob Hope Show tomorrow night. So keep that in mind. So anyway, until tomorrow, I'm Henry Chop, your host. Let's turn off this old tube radio. That's our time machine. Good night. God bless.
This changing world, this changing scene, where is it taking us? What does it mean? As long as we're certain of each other, we know we don't have to be afraid. These changing times we rise above. We have no time for them. We have our love, and love is the only thing that still remains the same through all this change.